Madelaine Petsch, welcome to Call Her Daddy.
Hi.
You look so gorge.
Thank you. So do you.
How did you pick this outfit today?
Well, I thought if I'm going on Call Her Daddy, I want Alex to call me Daddy. So I'm going to have my titties out for you.
No. It's perfection. I feel like you have had literally the craziest year. You've been on an insane filming schedule. Do you have any time off, or are you getting back into something?
This is like the worst time to ask me this question. I had 1 day off for the next 2 months and they just put something on it. So I'm feeling a little overwhelmed currently. I'm somebody who this is the thing about my job that I was not made for me, is I don't do well with change in my schedule. And it changes constantly.
Wait, you literally being an actress and you're like, I don't like change. I'm like, literally every 5 fucking months, you're like, new project. That
I'm fine with, but I was just shooting a movie in Tulsa, which I adored. And they kept changing and adding days. And I was like, my brain can't function like this.
Oh my God. You need a full set schedule. I read in an interview you did that you said you basically have like a very, very hard time ever relaxing. Like you're not someone that can relax. Have you gotten better?
I have, actually. The pandemic, honestly, weirdly forced me to find stillness and be okay with it. Because I couldn't work. I was stuck in my house. And I was like, I have to find a way to manage this. I did actually, by the way, get my brain scanned during the pandemic because I was so anxious all the time that I was like, there's something genuinely wrong with me. That's how bad I am with stillness. And then I was like, okay, no, I'm actually just a crazy person because I'm fine.
Meanwhile, he's like, it looks gorgeous. You're like,
everything looks great. I'm like, there's a gremlin living in my head. You don't see it?
Okay, but to be fair, I feel like so many of us during the pandemic were like that, where you were like, there is something wrong with me.
Yeah.
Okay, October is coming up. I feel like you, Cammie, and Lily have been known in the past to do these really, really good Halloween costumes. Are you going to do anything this year?
I don't think we are. I'm so sorry. I try every year. I want to let you know I am the one who rallies everybody.
You are.
I am the one in the group chat who's like, okay, it's August. What are we doing? What's the plan? And this year, I think we are all filming in different places. And there's just I even said, what if we just do a photo shoot? But we're all so busy, it's not even possible.
Wait, how do you feel, though, about so many celebrities doing that? Where half the time they don't even go to the party in the costume, they just do the photo shoot and put it on Instagram. How do we feel?
I don't even care, honestly, because I don't even like the party. I like the dressing up, but I don't even want to go.
It's actually true. Being a girl is loving the getting ready process, and then you get to the party and you're literally like, can we go home and eat pizza and hang out?
Press days, I'm like, I'm so excited for press days, and then after glam's over, I'm like, wait, I still have to go do stuff.
Right. You just want to look cute, and then you're like, wait, I now actually just want to sit here, take some selfies, and then wash it all off and get in bed and watch a movie.
Exactly.
Actually fair. Okay, so no Halloween this year, but will you do something for a costume?
I can't not do something for Halloween. But also, I am so excited, Alex. Six Flags is doing a Stranger's Maze, and they have little me's running around in there. And when I tell you, top 10 most important things to my entire life existence is having a haunted house with me running around in it that I can go and attend. Life is made.
Wait.
I can die happy.
Wait. Little yous?
Little me's, like me's. People with little wigs on running around as if they're me, Maya, and the Strangers. A dream.
Are you gonna go?
Absolutely, I go on the 11th.
I am such a scaredy cat. So I would probably be like, I want to go. And then I'd be so fucking scared. I feel like you're gonna thrive.
You don't go to Universal Horror Nights or anything?
I just get really scared. I'm such a bitch.
You're so fun. Are you crazy?
I'm such a bitch.
I thrive. September 1st, I'm like, I have my fireplace on.
No, Madelaine, I was
75 degrees in my house.
Okay, yes to that. But me, I literally was I was getting scared of Halloween Town. I would get scared of the guy.
What, Calabar? You were scared of Calabar running around?
Actually, yes. When he was yeah.
No, honestly, he was a little scary. But that also came out when we were young. Let's be honest.
Okay, fair. We're going to play a little quick game.
Okay.
It's called Firsts and Worsts. I'm going to give you a scenario and you're going to tell me the story behind it.
Sure.
Okay. What was the worst fashion phase that you ever went through in your life?
Oh my God. I had a full scene kid face.
Okay, talk to me
I
about
actually have gauge holes in my ears that I have to wear stickers in the back of my ears to wear earrings. I had 00 gauges.
Wait, what are 00 gauges?
It's I don't even know what the sizing is, but my brother was gauging his ears and he didn't want to go too big. And so he did it on me first. I'm the younger sister, to see what the size would look like. Now he has massive ear holes.
I love how he's hold on, come over here. Boom.
He was you have to put Vaseline in and you have to stretch it. It's such a crazy process. I did it when I was in 7th grade. That would be the worst, I think.
Yeah, I thought I was in my scene-y emo phase. I never had gauges, but I did have the colored skinny jeans. So horrid.
That was a rite of passage,
I
though.
know.
I honestly think.
I look back at pictures though, and you're like,
thank God I deleted my MySpace, all of that stuff, like
Yeah.
long before I became an adult.
Oh no, you have to.
I don't even have those photos.
No,
and I
it's-
want them to be dead forever.
It's blackmail of yourself that you put out there willingly, and then you're like, why?
Why did I do this to
The
myself?
side bang? No.
The way that I bought like thinning shears and thinned my own hair so I had like very thin hair. I was like, why would we do that?
And now we all want thick hair.
Yeah, I know.
Horrible. Okay, what is the story of your first kiss?
My first kiss. Oh, honestly, I have a really weirdly terrible memory when it comes to my personal life. Maybe that's childhood trauma, but the one that I think of is my brother specifically said, like, there's this one guy who goes to this school that I hate more than anybody, and you cannot talk to him at this game. And I was like, you got it. Love you so much. And then I saw him and I was like, he's kind of hot. What do I do? And then I'm pretty sure he became my first boyfriend for like 6 months. And my mom would like drive us around in our minivan. I think I kissed him in the back of the minivan when my mom was driving.
This is so telling of like who you are. Like I needed this information. I'm like, wait a second.
I was my brother's like villain as a
I-
child.
You know what? We would have been best fucking friends.
Hell yeah.
Because
Hell yeah.
I am a natural redhead.
What?
Yes. Wait, you didn't
Wait.
know? Oh my God.
What?
Yes.
Why are you blonde?
I
How
know.
dare you?
I know. It was like,
Oh, what?
I know. I
I
know.
need pictures after this.
Okay,
is
but you look
over.
way better.
There's no way. Actually, I think you look so cute with red hair.
No. Maybe now that I've like grown into my face, but not back then. But I was always like wanting to hook up with my brother's friends, and like they didn't really want to hook up with me.
What about enemies? Brothers' enemies?
That's what I'm getting to.
Ah.
I did hook up with one of his enemies.
Love that for you.
And he became my first boyfriend.
We
We're literally the same person. Shout out, you know who you are. Like it was, and I loved
I
it.
wonder
And
where that guy is.
I know. Well, I think I know where he is, but
Okay.
that doesn't matter. The problem was though that like my brother got so upset with me, but it only made me want to love this kid more.
My brother didn't get mad at all. He's the best. He was like, I mean, if you like him, like all good.
Oh my God, wait. You
He's
had
the
such a
sweetest
better
little
experience with
guy.
your brother. My brother came in and would like throw shit in my room and be like, you have to stop seeing him. And I was like, honestly, the day that you get bored of me seeing him, I'll probably dump him. But the
sounds
fact
like
that
a
you're
CW
enraged.
show.
Yeah. Honestly, it was a CW show. Okay. It was like One Tree Hill. Okay, next. What was the most random job that you worked before your big break as an actress? Because I know you had a
Actually-
couple jobs.
I had a lot. I was a window salesman.
Talk to me about that.
So I was on Craigslist and I was like, what's the highest paying job I can find? And by the way, I was getting jobs on Craigslist. I absolutely could have been murdered. I was such an idiot when I moved here.
Madelaine.
And it was in Redondo Beach. And they were like, you go door to door and you sell windows to people. And I was like, bet. So I went and it wasn't working. And so I started waiting outside the houses till the wives would leave. And then I'd go to the door and like make myself cry and get the husbands to buy windows. And then I had a really high return rate was the problem because they didn't actually want the windows. They were trying to get the girl who's crying on the doorstep to leave.
What a fascinating sales tactic.
It was interesting. I don't think it was beneficial to
Selling
anybody.
windows, picturing you coming up with like a reason these people need to buy fucking windows.
And crying.
Okay, but you were savvy.
I was doing my best
You were
with
doing
what
your
I
best.
what I had to do.
You were doing your best.
Yeah.
Okay, what was your first like big purchase once you got your paycheck from Riverdale?
You know, I actually every season that we got picked up, I bought myself a new Cartier ring. So I have 7 Cartier rings for the 7 seasons of the show that I literally never wear.
Yeah, wait, I was like,
I don't
sweet.
wear them, but I have them and I like looking
they're
at them.
somewhere.
They're somewhere.
Wait, do you ever wear them?
Yeah, sometimes. I actually think I may have lost one, which was a real bummer and a move.
Okay, what was the worst Riverdale plot line you ever had to act out?
Where do I begin?
Okay. give me a strong one.
Okay. Okay. So it's like there's so many going through my head I can't decide. I had to act with my brother's dead corpse in a wheelchair for an entire season. Mind you, he died 4 years prior. His corpse should have absolutely rotted. But I was like basically losing my mind and speaking to a corpse for an entire season. I would wake up and be like, JJ, do you want your tea?
See, I like definitely like watched the first couple seasons, and then when it was getting really crazy, I was
Probably
like,
around that time.
yeah. That's probably that's exactly.
Actually, can I change my answer? My actual answer is this is my Roman Empire, okay? When I became a witch on that show, Roberto, is this my camera? Roberto, when I became a witch on that show, there was one thing I told you. I said, I never want to see lasers coming out of my hands, okay? What did he do in the season finale of season 6? I'm like Scarlet Witching up in the air, singing and crying with lasers shooting out of my hands at a comet. At a comet that ends up wiping out all of Riverdale, which is why we're in the 50s in season 7. Hey, what?
That'll do it. And because you had the visual of like, I really don't want this to be me.
No, and I actually think I might have given him the idea is the problem. I think I said like, just please no lasers. Like I'll do anything witchy, it's fun, but no lasers. And then he was like,
Finale.
I think she said she wanted lasers out of her hands.
And you're like, God damn it. This
like,
will literally follow me for the rest of my life.
I see it every day. The meme of me like crying and screaming and like I just
Okay, but people loved it.
It was fun. It was always a good time for me on set.
I know today you kind of want to talk about some things that you've never publicly spoken about.
Yeah.
Why do you think you are finally ready to open up about your childhood?
I think for a long time I struggled with the idea of, is it my story to share? I mean, it involved a lot of other people, my whole family. And I think I got to a place through therapy and talking to my friends, and also just I think about when I was a kid, if there was somebody that I loved, just like one person saw this, if somebody that I loved was talking about what they went through and it was even remotely similar to what I was going through, it would encourage me to continue. So I think it's just kind of an amalgamation of that and then finding the right platform and feeling comfortable with you to do that.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it, girl. Here we go. Okay, let's go back. Growing up, just like very beginning days, what was your family like?
Honestly, they're the strangest people on the planet, but I adore them. My parents are South African, so they don't understand American culture very well, and they were raising 2 American children in a small town. I have a wonderful older brother and a mom who is like, do you know people who are destined to be mothers? Like that's my mom's entire purpose on this planet. And a dad who tried his very best. And you know that he was trying his best, but as a kid, I didn't really understand like the way he was behaving and treating me wasn't because of me, if that makes sense.
When you say that you guys were different because your parents were South African, where were you raised also?
Washington State.
Washington. Okay. Were people outwardly like commenting on you guys? Like, did you stick out like a sore thumb, or was it just like in your head you felt different?
I think also being a redhead and South African and being raised plant-based and without Christianity in my life, it felt like everything that were the core values of being a child, which is like looking normal, having a normalcy in religion and food eating, we didn't have. And so it felt more like maybe it was all in my head, but I definitely felt like I didn't belong growing up.
So talk to me growing up about your relationship with your mom and your relationship with your dad and like your early memories of those relationships forming.
Yeah, my mom is like the protector. My mom always was trying to keep the peace. Her words were peace and tranquility. And so she did her absolute best to not let me see the trickling effects of my father's behavior. My relationship with my father was really complicated because he has behavioral issues. And he would have extreme highs and extreme lows. And in the extreme highs, as a child, it's like you have the most fun dad in the world. It's like you can't live and breathe without that person being around. And then that person is ripped away from you and being cold to you and not responding when you tell them that you love them and getting angry at you and lashing out for no reason. And you think it's your fault as a child.
Do you remember like an early core memory of like the first time you realized like maybe your dad was struggling with mental illness?
When I was 8, my brother and my mother were in South Africa, and my dad and I had some sort of falling out over something. I don't even know what it was. And I told him I loved him. I was like crying and telling him I loved him. I wanted him to tell me he loved me back, and he told me he didn't love me. And he left.
And so you were alone in the house?
For a couple hours, not for very long. And I was just crying in bed the whole time. But I remember sitting there and being like, my father doesn't love me. Like I did something very wrong. And I was calling my mom, and they're on a different time zone. And that was the first time she was like, this has nothing to do with you. This is fully your dad. And that's when I really first understood that. I think it took a long time and a lot of therapy because we don't use diagnoses in the household either. So it took a lot of therapy for me to figure out what was actually going on.
How was that explained to you that like we don't use?
It wasn't. In fact, most of the time it was like, it's PTSD because my dad was in the apartheid war, or it's trauma, or it's just he's having a bad mood. And it's like, that's actually not what's happening. He has a chemical imbalance in his brain that makes him incredibly high and incredibly low. And it took a lot of therapy for me to feel the validation of a diagnosis, even if he has now gotten one, but even if he never got one, to understand what was actually going on. And it was frustrating because you're like, why do you not want to know? It will help understand and educate us on what's happening, so it's not his fault either. Do you know what I mean? He's not trying to be like that.
Right.
I also think like our parents' generation just doesn't really understand mental health. And I think it wasn't a priority, whereas now, as we become parents, like, of course it's a priority. But back then, it really just felt like that wasn't even an option.
So when you were dealing with difficult moments with your father, like, how would your family talk about it?
There's a lot of triangulation, which is something I learned in therapy, with my mom and my brother and I kind of having little kikis in my brother's room while one of us is crying because he's done something to them. Always verbal, never anything physical, thankfully. And usually the issue was I became this like key to unlocking his good mood. So when there was bad things going on in the house, I would be called to come and fix the problem. So no matter what the issue was, if he was upset with my mother or my brother, I would be sent in to essentially disarm him emotionally.
Why do you think that was?
He just has this like, I think a lot of men, like their little girl is the apple of their eye. And I think I was the apple of his eye. So I think it allowed him to like, I'd walk in and most of the time it would work. And I'd be like, Daddy, can we just have a nice night? Can we just figure it out? And it would take him a couple of hours, but sometimes it would work. So I think they kept doing that.
Which is, at first, I'm sure before you were like able to process what was happening, everyone's like anything to get him to like come down and be in a better mood.
Yeah.
But then as you started to get a little bit older into like high school, how much was that affecting you kind of being the person that had to be almost like the parental figure in your household?
Yeah, I remember one night I was out, and I won't detail what was happening at my house because it's incredibly personal, but I was out at a ballet and I got a call saying you have to come home immediately. I had like 16 missed calls and I had to come home and deal with a situation that was so incredibly unsafe and so disrespectful as a child to put me in, that I had a lot of resentment towards everyone in my family for putting me in that position when they could have just gone to professionals and dealt with it properly.
How did you process any of this?
I didn't. In fact, it became almost like this compartmentalization where a lot of the time now we'll talk about things that happened, the three of us, my brother and my mom and I, and we'll be like, wait, that's not what happened, or that didn't happen, because it was just push it out of your head, don't think about it. This is just the reality. You don't know anything different.
So when you look back on that time of your life, do you now have emotions that come up, or is it still kind of like it's more survival mode?
I've worked through it so much in therapy. Like my first 6 years of therapy were all about my relationship with my father and my parents and my childhood, to the point where now, like, I don't necessarily feel emotional about it. I've worked through all of that, but there are still moments where I have to put that hat on and show up in that way.
Being in a situation as a child where you feel like you have to become the parent has so many repercussions, obviously, when you get older, but what was going on when you were kind of handling things with your father? Like, what was going on with your mother in those moments?
God, Alex, I don't even remember. I really don't remember. I think, like, honestly, I don't think she ever asked me to do that. I think I immediately saw a place that I could try to help, and I just tried to help every time I could.
In, like, high school or anything, did you ever confront your parents?
I didn't confront my parents until I moved out, but I moved out the day I could when I was 18. And I also like immersed myself in after school activities. That's probably why I am successful, honestly, is because I did not want to be at home. So I did dance I went to an arts high school that was 45 minutes away. I did dance from 3 to 9 every single night. Afterwards, went home, did homework, went to bed. And then on weekends, I did plays in my local theater. Like I never wanted to be home. So I immersed myself in the arts and escapism. And now I'm here. So it's like, would I still be in this position if I didn't have that? I don't know.
That's what I was wondering, because I'm like, all these inconsistencies at home, like, how did it affect your life socially? Like, did your friends know what was going on?
Yeah, for sure.
Did you have any issues growing up with, like, could you have friends over your house?
My mom was such a little soldier, honestly, because she always fought for me to have the most normal childhood she possibly could give me. So I had friends over often, but the friends I was comfortable having over were friends that already knew what was going on. But it also affected their childhood. Like my childhood best friend is still one of my closest friends now, and she has horror stories about being at my parents' house.
Would you and your brother lean on each other a lot, or was it tough to kind of?
Well, it became really awkward because it's like I'm the one that's going in to fix a situation. I can't even imagine. We've never spoken about this, but I can't even imagine what it must have made him feel like to know that I could go in and make my dad feel better. That created a really weird, unhealthy dynamic between him and I, where when I moved out, like we weren't super close. We've become close in our adult years now, and we've worked really hard to get there. But we didn't have each other to lean on, really.
Talk to me a little bit more about the resentment aspect, because you go through this in your childhood. Your home is going through these like instability moments. You are parentified at a young age. You're throwing yourself into the arts, trying to get away.
Yeah.
In the moment, were you resentful, or did it take you leaving to become resentful?
Honestly, the only resent that I feel is seeing now how it seemingly seems so easy for him to be normal. That's the hardest part, because now he's actually a pretty wonderful dad.
Do you think there's a chance that's because you now can have distance and like leave and remove yourself from it?
Absolutely.
Like if you were living in a house with him, maybe.
Potentially. I mean, my mom still lives with him. They're still together. And so it does seem like he's found things that work for him in that regard. But to see how easy it was for him to do that it was a tough pill for me to swallow. But I'm incredibly honest with him now. I've not told him I'm going on this, and I'm very curious to see how that goes. But I'm very honest with him about his behavior now and about how it affected me as a child. And he takes it on the chin very well.
Okay, let's talk about therapy. You get into therapy. You've been in therapy for a couple years now.
I've been with the same therapist for 9 years. I'm obsessed with her.
Wait, 9 years
9
is
years.
like...
It's my longest relationship.
Oh my God. Wait, and you are like stronger than ever. Because I can't figure out if like you need to switch therapists at a certain point after like how many years, but you feel good.
I'm locked in. It's for life.
Oh, I love that for you so much.
I'm a lifer.
What was it that made you want to initially get into therapy 9 years ago?
My relationship that I was in, my romantic relationship, was echoing very similar things that was happening with my father.
It's so interesting because so many of my friends and I always talk about this. Like when you become an adult, you're like, oh my God, I have to get in because of this guy that I'm seeing. And little do we know.
Everything.
And meanwhile, it has nothing to do with fucking Brad or Ben or whoever the fuck we're talking about. It's fully childhood shit. But it ignites something in you and it brings up so much past trauma that you're like, wait, what is this? Why am I acting this way? And then you sit down in the therapist's room and they're like, sweetie, I'm going to hold your hand when I say this. Let's put him over here. This has nothing to do with him. This is all you. And you're like, so you get into therapy.
Yeah.
How did you start to initially feel when you started to work through?
I remember I had a 15-minute, I was on set for Riverdale in my trailer, season 1. And I had season 2, and I had a 15-minute call with her, and I was sobbing. In 15 minutes, I was like broken down. All my makeup was off. And I was like, this is obviously what I need to be doing. And so Riverdale was so wonderful. They would like help me find time in my schedule to do therapy, and they were really supportive. But it was just through talking about it. I mean, my relationship was obviously not great if it was echoing that. So the kind of impetus was dealing with that at first for a long time.
Yes.
Breaking yourself out of that and then getting into the weeds with your childhood stuff.
When you went back to the childhood stuff, like what did you find was the hardest stuff to start to unpack with a therapist? Because therapists ask pretty like pointed questions, or they like ask you to go places that you sometimes don't want. Not you don't want to go, but you're like, oh God, this memory just came up. Like, I can't believe this.
I think I was struggling with understanding that he didn't not love me. I think there was still this like idea in your head when you're a kid that it's like so deeply ingrained with you that this person can't possibly care about me and love me if they're treating me this way. And I thought I'd worked through that. I thought as an adult, I understood that. But there was still that like little Madelaine inside that was like, my daddy doesn't love me, you know? And so like working through that, it still comes up occasionally at 31, 9 years later. But I think that was the hardest thing was to really, truly at a cellular level believe and understand that this has nothing to do with love or how much he cares about me. It has to do with fully him in a chemical imbalance.
What was it like when you started to have such success? Like, were your parents?
It was honestly kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Because it's like with my dad, because he was so proud of me. And I'm like, I just want to choke you. What's wrong with you? No, and he's so proud of me, and he's so excited. And so then it was complicated because I'm also like, I financially support a lot of my family as well. So it became like no one asked me to. I wanted to help, but it started feeling weird. Like it's weird to have a childhood dynamic like that, and then to be successful like this, and then have the ability to monetarily help. And it just becomes really messy in my head. And so I had to again, compartmentalize and just figure it out.
Well, and because Madelaine, it's like you used to be this parental figure in your house.
That's it.
You ran away because you didn't want to do it anymore.
That's it.
Then you get success and you go back to that role. And even though they didn't ask you,
it's just natural to me.
Right.
It's just natural to me. I just stepped back into it. I bought a house in Washington that I moved my brother into so he could get out of the house. He's still there. He loves it, and he's so happy in it, and it makes me so happy. But that's the kind of stuff I was doing when I got to I bought that before I bought my own house.
So there's this caretaker role that you're constantly in.
Yeah.
But then eventually, as in therapy, you're like, wait, I also have to take care of myself,
right.
Not everyone around me. Right. Can you talk to me about one of the biggest breakthroughs that you ever had in therapy, if any?
Yeah. Not dating carbon copies of my father over and over and over again. And even if I'm like, this is not that. This is not that. This is so not that. This is why. It always was that. It was always that. So I have to say, I feel at the place of my life now, I could not be further from that, which is the biggest success of my life, honestly.
That's so fucking real, where you're convincing everyone, you're like, no, guys, this is so different.
No, I promise you it's different. And also here's why. And I know I told you last week he did this thing that's exactly like the other thing I told you about, but it's not that.
It's not that. You're not seeing it.
You just don't get it. It's not clocking to you that I'm standing on business, okay?
And your friends are literally like, okay, call us tomorrow. And then literally you're crying.
I'm crying again. I'm like, you did
motherfucking shit.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of what you're talking about is the steps that it took to get to this place, but getting under it a little bit more emotionally.
Jump in.
When you look back, how did the responsibility of managing your dad's emotions your entire life ultimately impact you and your fundamental core and who you became as a human being?
I remember in therapy once I said, I'm happiest when I'm somebody else. I'm an actor. And I think that's how. I think I spent a lot of my life not loving myself because I was like, if the person who made me doesn't love me, how the fuck am I supposed to love myself? And there are still moments where it's not even a conscious thought, but it's this almost deep-rooted, layered, sewn into the fabric of who I am, insecurity of so it really is to your point of what we were talking about earlier, taking a break and finding stillness is so important to me because it's moments where I can be I love myself and I love who I am, even though right now I'm telling you, I'm a fucking badass. I love myself more than anyone could possibly love me in the planet. I still have moments where I'm that little Madelaine who's sitting in her bed crying because she thinks her dad doesn't love her.
I think for so many people that experienced extreme dysfunction in their childhood, there is this want to just keep going and keep, whether it's succeeding or whatever it be, keep moving so you don't have to really be still and be
yeah.
Hey, so how are we feeling about the past 20 something years of our life?
Right.
What do we feel about that? And when you do, sometimes it's really fucking difficult to get into therapy because I've had friends where they were like, I have to put a pause. This is literally I can't go to work. I am a mess right now because I'm remembering things. I have some friends that forgot about certain memories. It is a journey, but once you get over that hump, it really does bring you to a better place.
Yeah.
But it's not fucking easy.
No.
You talking about the men in your life. Talk to me about how your relationship with your father, actually give me some examples of how it affected the type of men that you were going for.
Here's one.
Okay.
After me and one of my exes broke up, he came out with the same diagnosis as my father.
Okay.
Right. So let's all take a break for a second on that one.
Okay. And you in the moment didn't feel
Did I feel like that? It was my first love and it was so all encompassing. And I was like, this is my person. And and that's the thing is I think watching my mom be with my dad and just decide to be with him forever made me believe that love is actually just staying no matter what.
Okay, let's pause and talk about that.
Yeah.
How many times have you, and give me like some like things that have happened where you're like, I know I should leave, but I'm in love.
There was a moment in a relationship where I knew in my heart it was over. I stayed for a year and a half longer. I called all my friends. I was like, I know this is it. I know it's over. I called them. I told them what happened. They were like, yeah, obviously it's over. I stayed for another year and a half because I watched my mom stay forever. And it's funny because I have friends now who are like in relationships with they're parenting a child together and they're not happy. And I'm like, trust me, take it from somebody who grew up in a household where the parents were dysfunctional. It's actually better for your child to see real love. Go out and find your real love. Give them an example of what a proper relationship is meant to look like so that they don't seek that out when they're adults.
It's a good point. It's almost like sometimes people understandably think like keeping the family together is really going to be better for everyone in the long run. And then you see people be like, please get a fucking divorce. Like it actually will be better for all of us. And the parents are like, what? Wait, what?
At the same time, though, I don't know if that would have been better. My parents also own a business together. So like I don't think it would have been the right thing. I think they did the right thing, but it did create a really unhealthy idea of what love was for me. I thought love was staying.
How did you find yourself showing up in these dynamics? Like I know these men were acting a specific way, but what were you like in your relationships in the past?
The same shit I did with my dad. There was conflict. I was immediately fixing it to my detriment. I didn't really allow I still have a hard time allowing conflict to stew. I think when there's unease or conflict, I get really uncomfortable for obvious reasons.
And what do you do in those moments?
Now?
In the past?
In the past, I would just scramble to fix it.
Even if like they were the ones that fucked up, you would…
You know, I'm really lucky. I haven't had many situations where someone's like actually fucked up in a relationship. It's usually just like an argument or a disagreement that's gone south. But yeah, I would always scramble to fix it. Now, I stand on business. Now she's quiet. Now she just sits.
And everything in you is like…
I'm rageful inside because I'm like, I have to fix it. I have to fix it. I have to fix it. I'm like, it's okay. I'm just going to move my ankle and sit here and listen to you talk. And then I'm going to walk away, even though I don't want to walk away. I want to stay and fix it. And we'll talk about it tomorrow. That's okay.
But when you get in that cycle, it's harder to break than to just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now talk to me about where you're at now through therapy of in the past, you are going through these moments where you're like, I'm becoming this fixer. I'm doing the same thing that I did with my dad. What are you like now?
You know, I think I still have a bit of that in me, but I also think that's just part of my personality. So I'm trying to find navigate the what is me and what is like learned behavior. And that's helpful through therapy. I think choosing partners was always tough for me. And I think now I'm really locked into what I want and who I am and what I deserve.
In the past, what was something that would have attracted you to someone that now you would
Loving me. Hey, you love me? Oh my God, so cool. I love me too. Let's do this. Like, could be that simple sometimes. Hey, are you hot and you love me? Like, let's go. And you're kind of funny. I'm in. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, I just didn't know what to look for because I didn't have something to look at.
But I think like, again, because there's so many women that listen to this, like that is so unfortunately normal of like so many young women have this feeling of they're not loved in their childhood.
Yeah.
And then they have this feeling of like taking anything that feels like genuine love, but not actually.
If it feels like security,
yeah,
consistency, stability, even though none of those things were usually true in the relationships, if it felt like security, I was in.
Because if he's saying he loves you so much, but he also is like doing these things
that are inconsistent, but he's saying he loves me.
So you're going to hold on to that.
Sometimes. I used to, yeah.
What is your relationship like now with your father?
It's complicated. I love that man with every fiber of my being. He is one of the smartest people on the planet. He's also like, he loves gardening and he's like, he makes little salads from his garden and he loves his little greenhouse. And he's just like this sweet, sweet man. And when I'm able to step away from what happened and just look at the person in front of me, I'm like, you're an egg. You're just this wonderful little creature. But it's still complicated because I still hear what's happening at home and there are occasional issues. And so I draw really firm boundaries. There are times where I don't talk to him for 6 months or so, and I'm very comfortable with that. He wishes we spoke more. I'm doing what I can, but I love him a lot, and I'm very thankful for him doing the work.
What is your relationship like with your mom?
Best friend. Best friend in the whole world. When I say like woman who was meant to be a mom, I mean woman who was meant to be a mom. I think if anything, I feel sadness for her sometimes because she's so magnificent and so wonderful and so lovable. And I would just give anything. I would give my whole right foot for my mom to feel as loved as she deserves to feel. That would be my dream.
I think like it obviously can be so difficult when you become an adult to kind of replay what happened in your childhood and look at your parents and realize they're not perfect. They hurt me. I didn't have the best situation in moments. Can you talk to me about the types of conversations that you've had to have with your parents in order to move forward to where you're at now?
Yeah. It was a lot of needing validation. It was a lot of needing like, this actually happened, right? And this is how it went down. And I did this and you said this, or what happened? Because my brother said this is what happened. So which one actually happened? And it was a lot of like actually trying to piece together my childhood and also saying these things to my father and having him acknowledge that's exactly what happened. That was the most important piece to me to have a relationship now.
What boundaries have you had to set in order to kind of have a healthier relationship with your father?
You know, with actually both of my parents, they don't call me. I call them. That was really important to me. I was like, I'm tired of being the one who gets the phone calls. I will call you when I have time to talk.
Oh, that's a good boundary.
And I call my mom almost every day. And my dad, I think we spoke on the phone like a week ago. I FaceTimed him like a week ago to say hi.
Do you have any advice for people? Because I can imagine there's a lot of people watching being like, okay, wait, like this is so similar to things that I've gone through. Do you have any advice for people of how to approach difficult conversations with a parent?
I don't know if I'm qualified to give advice, but I will say, depending on if you're still at home, I think that you should probably manage those conversations very carefully to manage your environment so you're not continuously walking on eggshells. But as an adult, honesty and saying your truth. And if you need validation, go seek it out. And if they don't give it to you, cut them off. That's how I feel. If my dad wouldn't have given me validation in those moments, he wouldn't be in my life anymore.
Overall, in your situation, when you look back on your childhood, like, is there anything you wished your family could have really done differently?
I wish I would have felt like a kid. Yeah. I think like now, I do so much spiritual work. I'm incredibly spiritual. And when I do healing sessions with my healer, I go to Denver for like 3 days and we get really in the weeds. Every time what comes up is like, you just need to go play, go be a kid. And the coolest thing, Alex, is that my job is playing all day long. Like, what a cool thing. I'm literally a big kid all day. Like, I'm sitting here on a couch with jelly beans, like talking about my life, like doing whatever I want. I'm just like a little sim now. So I think I am finding a way to heal that like inner Madelaine through my work, which is the most beautiful thing I could do.
Before we started recording, you had said that you had mentioned there was a time in your life where you didn't think you wanted to have kids.
Yeah.
And now you think you do.
I know I do.
Talk to me about that shift.
All my exes are gonna, if they hear this, they're gonna be so fucking pissed off. Because every man I've ever dated is like, are we gonna have kids or what? And I'm like, no, I don't want children. A lot of it was, there's like two sides to it. One was the societal pressure of being a woman,
okay,
of like, you are here to bear children. I'm like, go fuck yourself. No, I'm not. And also being a woman in Hollywood, and it's like, you only have so many years before your prime is over. And if you use them on, it's like, it's so much pressure that I was like, I'm just taking this off of the table for now. That was one side. The other side was much more deep rooted in, I refuse to raise a child in a dysfunctional home. I refuse to raise a child where they believe that they are not loved. I never felt like that was possible because of what I saw as a child. And then as an adult, something clicked, I want to say 8 months ago. This is like really recent. I was talking to my therapist and I was like, I mean, if I could just have consistency, like if I could have a kid with my best friend, I would love that. And she goes, hey, you can. That's literally, you can pick your partner. You can have a kid with your best friend. And it like mic drop.
You're like,
I was like, wait, what? I can? She goes, yeah, you can. And then it's like, I started thinking about it. I was like, how fun would it be to be able to like, I saw this TikTok that made me almost just lose my mind. I wish I could show it to you, of this adult mom showing a video of her daughter saying, it's crazy to see how easily I could have been loved, how easy it was to love a little me. And it's like, knife to the heart, but also how cool would it be to like be able to give all the love I didn't feel and get to something little, and to like all the things that I feel, all the other youth that I feel now, like to see that through a child's eyes, like it just feels so beautiful. And so it was at one point the thing I wanted the least. I was like, I don't want to carry on this bloodline. Let it end here. And now I'm like, no, I can change my narrative. I can rewrite history, and I can decide what this looks like, and I have the power to do that.
I think that's so beautiful, and I also think it should be more normalized to go through that thought process of like, it's okay that you changed your mind.
Oh my God, now it's so annoying. Everyone's like, are you sure you want them? You've been saying for years you don't. And it's like, hey, what if you were in my situation? Would you want them? Also, guess what? My ovaries, I can do whatever the fuck I want.
Right.
I want them now.
So shut the fuck
up.
Dude,
like literally.
It is crazy.
Why is it that I don't get why people feel so much autonomy over women's bodies? Don't even get me started about politics. I'm not going to go there.
No.
But in general,
it's
why
insane.
is it your right to tell me that I'm my time is running out?
Or even just to judge you of like, I think it's so important to acknowledge that women can change their mind and it is okay and it is none of our business. Do you have any advice for women who have felt a little bit of just like shame that they have gone back and forth of if they've wanted kids? Because I think people want you to feel shame. If you haven't known your whole life, then
you're not meant to be a mom.
Right.
And it's like, actually, I have so much maternal instinct. It's absolutely insane. And I can't wait to put it on something and like just love something so much. No, I don't have any advice because I just experienced that. I don't know. Just live your truth. And who gives a fuck what anybody says to you, truly.
And it's okay if you change your mind. You don't have to explain yourself to anyone.
I don't know why women we have to explain ourselves so much. Like, stop explaining yourself is actually my advice. Yeah. You don't have to. You want them? Say it. You don't want them? That's cool too.
You had said all of your ex-boyfriends were going to be like, what the fuck? Talk to me about how at the time not wanting kids and being vocal about that did, if anything, impact your relationships.
I think it's so much easier for men to say they want kids.
Yeah.
Like, sure you do. Come inside of a woman, get them pregnant. You can leave if you want. Like, it doesn't, of course you want a kid.
Right.
It's
like,
fun
call
for
me
you.
in 9 months.
Literally.
Let me know.
I've got to grow that thing. I've got to brew it in here. So every guy I've dated has been like, yeah, I want kids one day. And I had such a harsh policy of like, I will not be the mother to your children. I was that crazy about it. I think also because I was like, you don't tell me what I do with my body back then. And now I think I spent so much of my time as a child in like living really heavily in my masculine energy to like kind of father myself, that now I feel comfortable sitting more in my feminine and like really sitting and being like, no, I want to be a mom and I want to be soft and I want to not have to protect myself and like have that support and like feel beautiful in motherhood. And so that was the juxtaposition for me. They're going to be pissed, but like that's not the reason we broke up for literally any of them.
Okay, you said all of your ex-boyfriends.
What's up?
Are you single?
You know, I'm 31.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a soundbite for you on this. And I am in a place in my life where I've been a public figure for 10 years. And I've tried to navigate my private and my public lives for a very long time, not very well. And the reality is, I know I'm on a show where I should be talking about my relationships, but like, I'm not going to.
You're not going to. You know what? I respect you for that. You're like, I finally figured out. I need to take it behind closed doors and figure out if we're actually good together. And then maybe one day you'll all figure out. Okay, so we don't know if you're in a relationship.
I do, but you don't.
Okay. Oh, thanks. Okay. In this phase of life, what do you want out of a relationship?
Okay, that's a great question.
That's fair.
Consistency. I think that's one thing that I learned is really important. Consistency in a partner. Kindness. Love. It's like honestly not that hard, I think, to be in a good relationship. And it's communication, support from a career. I think the hardest part is that I'm an actor and I naturally will have to go have sex scenes and do things like that. And so trust is really important. I'm a very trustworthy person, but it's hard to trust an actor and I understand that. Just understanding, communication.
What would you say is your best quality in a relationship?
How much time do you have?
Go.
I'm a fucking amazing girlfriend. Now I am like, the shit that I've done to get here, like I'm brilliant.
You're like, put me in.
Put me
You
in,
want
coach.
me.
Put me in, coach.
You want me.
I listen and I care and I'm understanding and I'm an incredibly good emotional communicator because of 9 years of weekly or 2 times a week therapy.
That'll do it.
I have a good group of friends. I have a good job. Like I think that I'm kind of the whole package.
Okay, we're gonna play a game. I'm gonna describe a guy and you're gonna say if you're in or out.
Okay.
He took you on the best first date of your life, but he's fresh out of a messy breakup.
Out.
Yeah.
I don't
It's
care.
tough.
I don't care. If it's a great date, I don't care.
Right. You're like, call me in 6 months.
Also, but like, no, don't, please.
No?
I'm 31.
Okay. How
Like,
soon is too soon for someone after a breakup to be approaching you and like really pursuing you?
It just depends on, it could be the next day if it doesn't feel messy.
Yes. Okay, he's super fun and social with his friends, but he's shy and reserved around yours.
It's fine. I'm in. I think it's kind of charming.
Okay. How important is it for you to have your friends be friends with the person that you're dating?
I think it's important that they get along and that like my there's a couple people in my life that are my North Stars.
Yeah.
If they love my partner, I'm in. If they hate them, I'm literally out. Like actually out. Have been there. I have been out.
Love. Oh, that's the best.
She's in the
though.
other room, one of them.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, he's super communicative, but won't share his location with you.
Oh, that's fine.
Would you ever share a location with a partner?
I have if they ask.
Okay.
That's like whatever.
Okay. What is the biggest lie that you've ever caught a man in?
I was dating this guy. I was at work on location and he called me. He's like, I just got home. I'm going to bed. I love you. Good night. It's great. I love you. Good night. Got a call from the guy I was dating before him. Hey, I met your boyfriend last night at like 4 a.m. I'm like, hey, no, he was in bed. Were you in bed with him? And I really trusted this guy. I was like, when I'm telling you, like blind trust on only this partner, because he was just such, like he was that guy. And I was like, you're lying. You're being crazy. No. I call him the next morning and I'm like, hey, it's so weird, but he said that he saw you. He goes, no, I was at home. Okay. Call him back. I go, you're a fucking liar. He didn't see you. He goes, no. And he starts describing this specific present that I gotten for him that he was wearing. That like no one had posted. It was like, there's no, and I was like, wait a second, hold on. Where were you? And he goes, oh, he was with this very famous 80s pop star and they were like all over each other at this bar. And then I call my boyfriend and he goes, oh, yeah, maybe I was there for like a second. I don't really remember. And then photos came out of them. And I was like, hey, what? Like, hello? Do you think I'm stupid?
Not
Do you
the
think I'm dumb?
photos.
Do you think I'm dumb?
No, not the
And
photos.
I don't even know if he did any. I'm sure he didn't cheat on me, but the lie was enough for me to be like, I'm done.
Well, no. The lie is like,
Crazy.
who cares if you go to an event? Just let me know, like, don't say you're going to bed.
Hey, but like, why is she all over you?
And
why are her arms all over you? Like, are you okay?
And how are you saying you forgot?
You forgot? And you also met my ex. You think he's not going to call me and tell me that you were with some other woman?
And you also took multiple pictures that night.
What? Like, what? Yeah, that was crazy. It's actually the only time I've ever caught anybody in a lie.
No, the worst is when photo evidence and he's like, he's gaslighting you. And then you literally are like,
Hey,
so what's this? And he's
I
literally
didn't
like,
have to get there. It was basically like the next, like probably, I want to say like 4 p.m. the next day. He was like, okay, yeah. For a second. I'm like, for a second, my ass. For a second, my ass.
Wait, so did you stay with him?
No. Fuck no.
You broke up with him over that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Love that for you. Okay, there were rumors earlier this year. Look at us having a stare off.
Should I leave?
I know.
What were the rumors about?
We literally just locked eyes. And I was like, there were rumors. All the lights dim. There were rumors that you were dating a certain rapper.
Oh, that's interesting. I haven't heard those.
What was going on there?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know.
No.
I don't know either. Who wrote that?
I don't Google myself,
You?
so I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't even know.
No.
Okay.
What are you talking about?
Madelaine,
I literally don't know what you're talking about.
We're pivoting.
Pivot.
Obviously your friendships on Riverdale were so iconic and everyone was obsessed with you guys. What was your first impression of those women in general? And like, did you even have any idea that you would...
May I set the record straight about something on Riverdale, actually?
Yeah.
I would love to do this on air.
Please.
Okay. Recently, an article came out saying that we all fucked each other on the show. I did not touch a single person on that show with a 10-foot pole. May I just repeat that one more time? I did not fuck a single person on Riverdale. I never touched them. That's what happened. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Wait, did people think you fucked the girls or people on set?
It was just like this article that came out that was like, we all fucked each other all the time. And I was like, hey, no, I did not fuck any of you. I don't claim that shit at all.
You weren't into anyone on set?
No. I don't mix business and pleasure like that. I've never hooked up with a co-star. Do you know why, though? You know what's really ironic about all this is Cole sat me down during the pilot and was like, if I can give you one piece of advice, Mads. Do you have a cigarette? Can I borrow? He was like, thanks, guys. You can keep that in. He was like, don't hook up with any of your co-stars, okay? And so I was like, okay, got it, I won't.
As he is. He's like,
hey, right.
Cole.
Right. But you know what? Honestly, best advice I've ever been given was from Cole Sprouse.
Right. He's like, I'm going to give you advice that I'm not going to take myself.
For sure.
But
100%. But no, I never have.
That's smart.
I never will.
I think that's really smart.
Yeah, thank you. Anyways, back to the girls.
Oh yeah, back to the girls.
My first impression was that I actually had known Lily because and I know Vanessa too. I'd known Lily because we did our chem reads together. And she was lovely. And like we also were like in this thing together where we both hadn't booked it. So we had this like kind of hive mind. So we flew there together. We lived together season 1. Like we were so close and we never met Cammie. She might have done maybe a chem read with her, but I didn't met her. And then Cammie walks in and this is so funny. The way we all met, we were on a group chain. We're all at the Sutton Place in Vancouver and we're like, hey, let's all meet in the jacuzzi in an hour. Like, what? Like, why are we meeting in the jacuzzi?
This is why the rumors got out. They were all like fucking orgies in the hot tub.
Orgies in the hot tub at the Sutton Place. Do not clip that. We are not having orgies in the Sutton Place. No, we all met in the hot tub and Cammie walks in and she's got like, we're like 20, 21. And she's got this like little black bathing suit on. She got this like tat under her boob and she looks all hot. And I was like, you're the coolest person ever. Like, bye, you're never going to like me. But no, we all became best friends like immediately. The 3 of us were so close. It was interesting because the boys and the girls kind of got cliquey. Like the boys all loved each other. The girls all loved each other. But no, it was like a match made in heaven really fast. Almost scarily fast. We were like, this is going to burn out quickly. And then it just never did.
I feel like obviously society tries to pit women against each other and make everyone jealous of each other because it's their favorite thing to do. How did you guys avoid jealousy over like roles and screen time and who was getting more attention and the producers and all the things?
We never had a problem with that. Ever. I think because we all started at the exact same place, we were able to just support. That was all it was. It was just supporting each other through the hard times, the lows. I mean, being in your early 20s and booking a show like that skyrockets to success, thank God we had each other. So it became this thing where instead of pitting each other against each other, we were leaning on each other in every second of the day.
Do you think you'll ever rewatch it?
No.
What about when you have a daughter or a son?
I'm not letting her watch that. Or him.
Wait, why? You were so good. Come on.
Actually, no, I will. I'm just kidding.
You're like,
I was really good. You're right.
Yeah.
No, I love Cheryl. To be honest, I love her. I think it was 8 years of my life. There's so many, when I watch the episodes, I'm thinking about what was happening behind the scenes. Like, honestly, maybe I will rewatch it one day. I watched the pilot the other day and started sobbing.
Stop.
Because I was
alone?
Like, the show could have been so good. Like, I watched the pilot and I was like, this is what it could have been. Like,
you're like, it was so close.
We were so close. But I'm also so thankful for it. Like, it's why I'm where I am right now. I met the friends I have. I love Cheryl Blossom more than anyone could ever love a character in my life. She was the most fun, psychotic, crazy woman of the planet Earth. And always a wild ride and always a challenge. So I can't complain. I think watching it there's still like a bit of sadness about it ending. So I think it would be kind of like heartbreaking to watch because I was going to work and seeing my friends every day.
Wait, why did you watch the pilot randomly?
It was like 6. Where was I? I was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, shooting this movie. And it was like recommended for you, Riverdale. And I was like, haha, okay. What's wrong with me? And I was also on like night shoot. So I was really overexhausted. I was like, I'll turn it on and go to bed. I watched the whole thing. I'm sobbing in bed by myself. Like, hey, what's wrong with you? Are you
honestly
okay?
Really cute. That was really cute.
I really love the show. And I think it was before its time. And I think that's really great.
Let's talk about your new movie, The Strangers Chapter 2. Tell me everything.
So movie 1 is kind of like your typical home invasion film.
Mm-hmm.
They try to kill us. They succeed with one, you know. And then the second movie is just me really fighting for my life more from them in the woods. And this time in crazy circumstances, doing things I never thought I would do. It's honestly, when I tell you, I'm like, how the fuck did I do this stuff? When I watch it, it's like I black out. I don't know what's happening.
What was the hardest scene to shoot?
There's a scene that is on my fucking, of course, on my DNRs, which I can't talk about it specifically, but there's a scene where I work with a creature actor.
Okay.
And we had to VFX it into something else. And I get into a full fight with this thing. And it's like, it's really brutal. And it's really insane. And it was incredibly tough to shoot. And we had half a day to shoot it. It's supposed to be 2 days. We didn't have enough time in the schedule. But it's so cool. It's so cool.
You have another movie coming out.
I do.
Maintenance Required. This is the complete opposite side of the spectrum. And we're talking about a romantic comedy, which I love. The girl has range, okay? She's got an axe next to her head. She's running. Oh, we're so scared. We're so scared.
Damsel in distress.
And then we're funny falling in love.
Funny falling in love.
Okay, what do you think the daddy gang will love most about this movie?
Okay, so Charlie, the lead character, me, is a mechanic. And she's like a hot mechanic. And like I went to mechanic school and like everything I'm doing is real. So it's just really cool.
Dude, it's so refreshing to actually hear like you learned how to pole dance from your other movie.
Yeah.
You're learning to be a mechanic.
Dude, I get paid to learn new skills. Why would I not want to do it? They're like, we can get you a handle. I'm like, no, put me in, coach. Like that sounds so much like why would I not want to do that? That's so fun. And it's like a ode to, I'm sure you've got mails probably before most of Daddy Gang's time. Never said daddy gang out loud before.
It's okay. Sounds good.
I like it.
Yeah.
But it's like an ode to those 90s, early aughts rom-coms that we all love. And I feel like we're trying to get back. It's the haters to lovers trope. It's really fun. Jacob is brilliant in it, my co-star. And it's really fun. And the love is earned.
You were a producer on both of these movies.
Mm-hmm.
What made you want to step into that role?
I just, if you can't tell by our conversation, I have like a naturally producerial brain, I feel like. So I kind of, especially being on Riverdale where the kids kind of ran the show. Like we were there for so long that we learned everything we could possibly learn, especially the girls. Like we really soaked that up. We all have production companies now. So I think it just comes naturally to me to produce. I just get it. I get scheduling. I understand how development works. I have a good brain for creative writing. And like, it's just kind of, it was a natural evolution. The Strangers, I got offered 2 weeks before we started shooting. And I was like, hey, I love the concept. Script's got to be redone. Let's work on that. I go to Slovakia like 3 days later. I start working on the script with the writers and the producer. I'm like writing in Slovakia. And then it just kind of naturally evolved to me producing it. Same with Maintenance Required. It was a very similar process.
That's really cool. Because even just hearing like all the way back to the beginning of this interview, you talking about how you like loved the arts, you threw yourself into it. Now to be continuing to like build on what you love. It's so cool to see you now also like in these movies. Like it's just, we love seeing you on our screens.
Hey, thanks.
Madelaine, thank you so much for coming on. That was such a journey. That was
really was a journey.
We literally started, we go high, we go low, we go high, we go low. We went all over the place, but I feel like the fun thing about sitting down with you is like we see this version of you that we see on our screens in movies, television shows. We see you online, but to hear you actually talk more about who you are, where you came from, why you are the way you are, I think it's going to let your fans and mine just like fall more in love with you and really appreciate watching you grow. And I'm excited to see what the next decade holds for you, my girl.
Thanks for making this such a safe space, my girl.
Love you.
Love you.
That was really good.
Yeah.
Bye.
Wow.
What is up, Daddy Gang? It is your founding father, Alex Cooper, with Call Her Daddy.
Gwyneth Paltrow, welcome to Call Her Daddy.
Thank you very much.
I am so happy you're here. How is it feeling? How are the vibes?
The vibes are A+++. I mean, it's gorgeous. The marble table, the colors, it's very soothing.
Thank you. Because I know you're very into like home design yourself.
Yes.
How would you describe your style?
I think I always like a traditional frame. So, you know, like walls, fixtures, floors. I like it to feel like there's some history and some provenance with it. I think I always gravitate towards a house where like the bones are more
traditional. That's like, I always want cozy vibes. I actually designed this. The pink color in this room is the exact color that I have in my closet. And so I wanted it to feel like we were kind of at my house, but I wanted to bring a little bit of me to the studio.
I love
which
that.
is very fun.
This wall color is very similar to our Goop office wall color.
Right?
Yes.
Because you don't want like a hot pink. Like I needed to get away from the hot pink. I was like, I feel like I'm a little hot topic-y. I'm a little in college still. I'm like, I have elevated a little bit, ladies. Give me some credit.
Major
But
credit.
need to have it like classy but still fun. Let's talk about you though.
Oh boy.
So I love how, so Apple is here, your daughter, and you guys walk in and Apple is like, roaster, go for it. And I was like, Gwyneth Paltrow's coming on the show, guys. Like, let's keep it classy. And then Apple was like, oh, ask her everything. I'm like, oh, thank you, Apple, for letting me go in. In our hectic, fast-paced lives, we could use some slowing down. Haagen-Dazs is made to be savored and enjoyed slowly. Introducing new Haagen-Dazs Belgian waffle cones, a completely new experience that's worth slowing down for. Daddy Gang, you've never had cones like this before, okay? They'll take crunch to a whole new level. Each crispy waffle cone is filled with the velvety smooth ice cream that Haagen-Dazs is known and loved for. Then it's finished with delicious toppings and a decadent bite of sauce waiting for you at the bottom of the cone, okay? Haagen-Dazs Belgian waffle cones come in 4 delicious flavors: vanilla salted caramel, summer berry, triple chocolate fudge, and toasted almond fudge. Boom. Sign me up. You guys know that I have the most hectic days at the office. So when I get home, I love to grab a little treat, toss my phone away, and take a minute to myself. These cones are a must-have in my freezer. I'm obsessed with the summer berry flavor. It's fruity and it's sweet. And seriously, it always hits the spot. It's the perfect way to end a long, 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 stressful day. Ice cream just always hits the spot for me. And these Haagen-Dazs cones are truly the perfect treat. Savor your moment of slow with new Haagen-Dazs Belgian waffle cones available at retailers nationwide. So you're an entrepreneur, you're a mother, and you're an actress. You won an Academy Award at 26 years old. How did winning an Oscar at such a young age impact the way that you viewed and felt about your career?
Well, I guess I should start by saying, like, I was so driven. Like, I was working so hard and I didn't know exactly what I was working towards. I just wanted to be successful and to be well regarded. And I, was kind of on this really fast track, and it all kind of happened so quickly, which is what I think you're alluding to. And then for somebody like me who, I think I was working through a lot of the harder parts of my growing up through achieving success. And once I won the Oscar, it put me into a little bit of an identity crisis, because if you win the biggest prize, like, what are you supposed to do and where are you supposed to go? It was hard, like the amount of attention that you receive on a night like that and the weeks following is so disorienting and frankly really unhealthy. I was like, this is crazy. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know which way is up. And so I think it was a lot. And then I also, not that I would give it back or anything, like, it was an amazing experience, but it kind of called a lot of things into question for me. And then I think because I hadn't done a lot of healing work yet, I was like, well, now I need to, what am I going to do? How am I going to continue to achieve?
Do you mind sharing, like, when you're referencing, like, you were working towards solving the things in your past?
Yeah.
Do you mind sharing what you're talking about?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think, we all go through traumatic things in our childhood. And, I think our parents, especially my parents' generation, they had a very different orientation around parenting. It's like, Apple and her brother are like, I kind of revolve around them, and hopefully not to their detriment, but I think I grew up in a generation where there wasn't that orientation. And I think, you know, we moved a lot, to move with my mom when she was working, which also, of course, had great things. But it was, you know, it could feel destabilizing. And I think there were also like really high standards prescribed to me in my house. I don't even know if my parents were conscious they were doing it, but I always felt like I had to prove on some level that I was worth something, that I was lovable. And not only from my parents, but I think just from the culture that I was growing up in.
No, I get what you're saying. And I think that's something I've been realizing in therapy is like, of course, we can look at how our parents fucked us up. Like, I don't think there's anyone on the planet that's like, my parents were absolutely perfect. Like, but I do think generationally, it's also important to look at, not to give them a free pass, but like, they don't have the tools that we now have of like therapy wasn't even a conversation. Mental health wasn't even a conversation. Right. So even you saying like, I don't even think they were aware of the pressure they were putting on me. It does make sense now, especially if you are in therapy or working on yourself. Like the past generations, to me, it's very apparent as to like what they were lacking and how fortunate we are now to have conversations with like you having with your children. When you talk about having this like almost like crisis of like, you win this Oscar, everyone's looking at you, you're this beautiful young woman, how do you think that impacted like your self-worth at the time?
I felt a real pivot on that night because I felt like up until that moment everybody was kind of rooting for me in a way, and then when I won it was like too much, you know, and I could feel a real turn. And I remember I was working in England a lot at the time. For some reason, I was doing all my movies in the UK. And I remember the British press being so horrible to me because I cried, you know, and they didn't necessarily know that, you know, my grandfather was dying of cancer. My dad, who was in the audience with me, was like, had just had all this crazy cancer treatment, and he was really debilitated, and it was just this totally overwhelming moment. And, you know, I was 26, like I cried, and people were so mean about it. And I just thought like, wow, there's this big energy shift that's happening. And I think I'm going to have to learn to be less open-hearted and much more protective of myself and filter people out better. It was like this big reckoning in a way.
When I think back to the 90s, I think it's so funny that so many trends are coming back. Like Apple just walked in and just like, Mom, look, I'm wearing your shirt from the night. It's like everything is making comebacks. But the one thing that I feel like never went out of style, and I have to say it, is Brad Pitt. I have to say it.
I agree.
How did you meet Brad Pitt? Because you guys were like the hottest couple, okay? How did you meet Brad?
I met Brad on the set of Seven, and I think I was only 22 years old at the time. Oh my God. And I had seen him in Thelma and Louise and like whatever the other movies he had been in. So obviously everyone knew he was like the most gorgeous movie star in America. And I got this little part in Seven, and I was so excited to meet him and Morgan Freeman, who I had like grown up adoring as an actor. And we sort of said hi on set, and it was like major love at first sight. It was crazy.
I just got chills. The fact that you get to be like, I had love at first sight with Brad Pitt and it was mutual. Okay, Gwyneth, no big fucking deal. So you eventually got engaged.
Yes.
To Brad. How did he propose, and how did you initially feel about him proposing?
Well, we went out for, we had been going out for like I felt like a long time, and I was like ready to get married, and I was like ready. And we were in Argentina. He was filming a movie down there, and I had gone down there for most of it and was like making dinner and, you know, hanging out with him. And one night we were kind of on the balcony of this house we were renting in this little town in Argentina. And I wish I remembered exactly what he said, but he proposed. It was fantastic. I was thrilled.
Were you surprised, or did you know this was coming? Did you guys talk about it?
We had talked about it, but I was surprised in the moment. I remember that.
And how old were you at this point?
I must have been 24.
Oh my gosh. So I know I've read that you ended the engagement with Brad because you were like, I was too young. I was not ready to get married. And I feel like when you are in love, I don't care what age, sometimes you can be so in it that you don't see big picture. How did you realize that you were not ready to get married?
Well, I had a lot of development left to do looking back in hindsight. Like, you know, in a lot of ways, I didn't really fully start to come into myself until I was like 40 years old. And I had such a pleasing issue. Like I didn't even really understand how to listen to my instincts and act from that place, like for what was right for me. I was always trying to adjudicate like what's right for everybody else, you know, being the sort of thermostat in the room, like, oh, you know, it's getting a little uncomfortable, like let me cool it down, like it's getting cold, let me warm things up, and always sort of outsourcing that and not really giving myself like the dignity of being close to myself, you know? And so when I look back, you know, I think I was really a kid, like really more so than a lot of 22 or 23 or 24-year-olds I would meet now. You know, I really had not explored who I was, what was important to me, what my boundaries were, anything like that. And so I was totally heartbroken when we broke up, but it was just, you know, the right thing at that time. But it was really hard.
When you say you broke up, like, is that how you explained it to him? Like, I'm too young, like I can't do this?
No, it was like there were sort of a number of things that had happened. And also he was 9 years older than I am. I guess he's still 9 years older than me. And so he was like far more, he knew what he wanted. He was like ready to do it. And I was kind of all over the place. And so it was really like one of those difficult things where I felt like, oh my God, not only am I not ready, but I'm not like living up to the standards again. You know, it was like a familiar refrain that I felt about myself.
When you think back to that time period, like what questions do you think people should be asking themselves if they're wondering like, am I ready to get married? Because like I know there's a lot of young women listening that it's like, oh, maybe I am. Like, how will I know? Like, do you have any advice?
I think that as women, we know on such a deep level what is right for us. And so it's really just a matter of how many layers we've put on top of that. And I do think we're socialized as women in this country to not do that. Like we don't tune in and really listen to ourselves. And so I would say the best thing is like to work on your friendship with yourself. The closer you are to yourself, then the more decisions you will make from that place, and that will be the right decision.
Anytime I have a deep conversation with my friend, whether it was like she stayed in a relationship too long or I was in a toxic relationship, you always kind of know.
You know. And
like, I really feel like a woman's intuition is never wrong. Like when you're feeling something's off, a lot of the times we're just not acting on ending something or doing something for ourselves because there's a layer, like you said, of something prohibiting us from making that decision, whether it's like the societal issues of like we're living in this patriarchal society and you're like, I want to please the man, and it's been so ingrained, like whatever it is, usually it's actually, you know, the truth. You just have to be in tune with yourself. That takes a lot of time though.
Yes. And one layer of complexity I would add is that, you know, when I look back, and I think this is pretty pervasive, like most of us are sort of replaying relationship, that dynamic out in our romantic life that we had with our most difficult parental relationship. Like Kerry Washington said to me the other day, there's only one letter difference between parent and partner. And which I thought was, you know, a very succinct way of articulating it, because you know, that's something that I did for sure in my romantic relationships. And some people don't do that, and you know, they're attaching in really healthy ways, but you know, those are things to keep in the back of your mind too. Like, am I trying to work something out with this person that's really my own work?
Right.
Because a lot of times that means you shouldn't be with that person.
Yep.
You should go do your work and then find somebody that's going to really uplift you.
Because most of the time when you're in a situation with someone that you're trying to play out, like your issues with your dad or your issues with your mom, you're right. Then when you actually go do the work, you wouldn't go back to that partner. You're like, wait, no, that actually doesn't work for me at all.
That's right.
I'm interested to also know about Brad, and then we're moving on. But like, actually, let's do the whole episode about Brad. Since you're in this Hollywood sphere of like, it's a pretty close-knit group, how did you guys like move on? And like, I'm sure you saw each other at parties and like had to socialize in moments. Like, was it awkward for you? And like, do you guys it's not awkward now, obviously, but like, how did you go about running into each other?
Yeah, right. They always say like Hollywood is like high school with money. It's like kind of true, which is probably why I didn't live here for so long. I remember seeing him. This is so crazy. Like, because I was like heartbroken and so upset, and then I remember the first time I saw him, I was presenting at the Academy Awards the year after I won. And I like walked out and I was so cognizant of him being there. And I was like, oh my God, this is so scary and so awkward.
Because he's probably like in almost front row.
Yeah, he was like right there and we hadn't talked in like a couple years.
You're like, I would be like, I'm basically giving a speech to my ex.
I know. Like, and I was like, I think I even fumbled my words. I was like,
I hope that's on YouTube so I can go watch that after this. All of a sudden it's going to like spike up to like 10 million views.
It was like the year after I won. Yeah.
Oh my
It was
God.
crazy. I know. He's a great guy.
He's great.
He's wonderful. I really like him a lot.
Yeah, casual. Okay, another relationship you had was with Ben Affleck, which is like, I'm sitting here being like, you have the most stacked roster of any person that has ever come on Call Her Daddy, Gwyneth. I'm not kidding. I'm like, no one has sat in a chair and I'm like, Brad Pitt, Ben Affleck. I'm like, what? Tell us your tips. My actual question was this. Do you think that all of your exes have bought your vagina candle? They want to really relive the good times.
That's what it's there for.
Can you imagine someone like going into Brad Pitt's house and like, is that Gwyneth's vagina candle? What the fuck? Okay, we're gonna play a game.
Okay.
Brad or Ben? It'll be fun. Okay.
Brad.
No. I didn't even ask a question.
Oh, I thought that was the question. Brad or Ben? Okay.
That's so good.
Now I get it.
Okay, that's good. Okay, now overall it's Brad. Now. Okay. Call Her Daddy is brought to you by Hidden Valley Ranch. Hidden Valley Ranch now comes in a new easy squeeze bottle. The same ranch you love, just in a new, easier to use bottle. New bottle, same great flavor. Hidden Valley Ranch is the original ranch, the brand that created ranch in 1954. Recently, Hidden Valley Ranch changed its packaging, moving from the iconic paddle bottle to a new easy squeeze bottle. Okay, the new bottle offers a lot of benefits, including making it easier to just get the right amount of ranch out without making a mess and helping you get out every drop. Hidden Valley Ranch is America's #1 ranch. Visit walmart.com/Hidden Valley to find Hidden Valley Ranch in the easy squeeze bottle. Hidden Valley Ranch, only serious about flavor. I love you, Hidden Valley Ranch. Thank you for that. I can't believe I finally get to say this. Call Her Daddy is brought to you by Stouffer's. You don't even understand. Daddy Gang, let me set the scene for you, okay? It is 6 o'clock. You get home after a long, stressful day of work and you feel like you can't make one more decision, right? You're burnt out, you're tired, but you realize you're starving. It is dinner time, but even just thinking about what to make feels so overwhelming, okay? The fridge is empty, obviously. The idea of cooking sounds miserable and all you want is something easy, delicious, and satisfying. That is where Stouffer's comes in hot, literally. When the clock strikes dinner, think Stouffer's, because that is literally what I did my entire childhood, okay? Dinner dread is real, and as someone who hates to cook, figuring out what to make or even just to like order, I don't need that stress in my life. I really don't. I
I cannot tell you how many times I've been so grateful to come home. I open the freezer, boom, Stouffer's, boom, which one do I want? Okay. Whether it's a slow night or a night in with Matt, Stouffer's has been my favorite tasty meal since day one. Shout out to my mother. She and I would eat the mac and cheese. That was like a weekly staple. Their lasagna is actually incredible. Oh my God. The Swedish meatballs, my favorite. Oh my God. The turkey and mashed potatoes with gravy. Oh my God, the turkey tetrazzini, you guys. Stouffer's delivers big on flavor with great ingredients in every single frozen meal. For nearly 100 years, it has been the dependable choice for bringing friends and family together so we all can spend less time cooking and more time enjoying the moment. So skip the chaos, cancel the internal dinner debate, and solve dinner dread with Stouffer's. Shop now at your nearest retailer today. Stouffer's, I love you.
Okay. Who had better style?
Oh my gosh. I'm going back in time now, trying to assess wardrobes. Probably Brad.
Okay. Who was more romantic?
Brad.
It's like Brad. Who was more likely to make you laugh?
Ben.
Who were you more likely to get into an argument with?
Ben.
Who was more high maintenance?
Gosh, that's a really good question. I'm not sure I would characterize either of them as high maintenance. They were both like pretty
Chill.
Yeah.
Okay. Who cared more about their appearance?
Ooh. I'm not sure. I feel like neither of them were very vain like that. Like, I'm not attracted to guys who are like looking in the mirror the whole time.
Yeah, you need a little scruff. Like a little,
You need a little scruff. Although Ben did have like a mirror face that he would throw at the mirror.
You have to do it for us. Like,
I can't really remember, but it's sort of like, you know, like he had a funny mirror face. I think he was joking though.
Okay. Who was a better kisser?
Oh my God, let me think. Gosh, I have to remember so far back. They were both good kissers.
Okay. Who was better in bed?
That's really hard. That is really hard because like Brad was like the sort of major chemistry love of your life kind of like at the time, you know? And then like Ben was like technically excellent.
Holy fuck.
I can't believe my daughter's listening to this.
Technically,
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah.
Holy fuck. God bless J-Lo and everything she's getting over there. Oh my God, that's amazing. Okay, last question.
Okay.
This is really going to cause some issues.
Am I blushing?
I am.
Oh my gosh.
Who is the better actor?
Oh, wow. I mean, they're both so talented. I feel like, and Ben is a great writer and director, but I guess I would probably have to say acting alone, Brad. Like,
Yeah.
if you think of all the really different roles he's done, I mean, Ben is great too.
They're both great.
They're both great.
I mean, you've got great exes. Like, you can't really go wrong. You know what I mean?
And those are just the ones you know about.
Well, we're going to get to that. You can't tease me here, Gwyneth, and not expect. I was going to ask, you know, we know a lot of your exes. But would you be willing to maybe drop a name of someone you've like even had a makeout with that's A-list that like the world doesn't know about?
I don't think I could say the name.
Can you give
Names.
us a hint? What about a little Leo action?
No, never made out with Leo.
Never.
He tried back in the day, but he was already like, you know, he was very
Doing his thing.
loose with the goods, like from when he was 19.
What about Johnny Depp?
Never made out with him. We did a movie together, but we did not make out.
Bradley Cooper?
No, I don't even know Bradley Cooper. I mean, I've met him, but I've never like,
Yeah.
you know.
Okay, well, we're going to have to sidebar. You're going to have to tell me one name
Okay.
that I can like hold close to the chest.
I'll tell you after.
Okay.
Okay.
You also dated and married Chris Martin, one of the biggest musicians in the world.
Yep.
Shout out Coldplay. Love
Shout
ya.
him out.
We are going to do one last game.
Okay.
Fuck, marry, kill. Brad Pitt, Ben Affleck, and Chris Martin.
Wow. Well, obviously I'd marry Chris Martin because he gave me my 2 children who are the loves of my life. So I would do that all again.
Oh.
Wow, but kill is that's such a hardcore.
It's not actually. It's like put to the wayside.
Okay, I can
Fuck one more time. I think we know your answer.
I think Brad.
Brad, yeah.
And then Ben, yeah.
God bless Ben.
God bless him.
God bless him and his Dunkin' Donuts. Okay, what initially attracted you to Chris?
So Chris and I met. It's a funny story. I was a huge Coldplay fan when his first album Parachutes came out, and I loved it. I was doing a movie in London again, as usual, and I was kind of had the TV on in the background, and they were playing at Glastonbury, and when I heard the music and I had this very powerful reaction to it, I was like, this is incredible. And I watched their whole thing and I was like, this band is going to be huge. And no one had really heard of them in America at the time. I remember coming home and telling everyone about this great band. And they said, they're going to be playing this teeny show. I think it was maybe at the Bowery Ballroom or something. So I went with Mary, my best friend from kindergarten that I was telling you about. And because I was there, someone wrote in the newspaper that we were dating. We had never met. And I was like, what? He's 5 years younger than me. And I was like, please, I'm not we're not dating. I just went to this thing. And we thought, but they kept writing it all summer. And then that fall, my dad died, unfortunately, in sort of a surprising way. And my brother and I were listening to that Parachutes record. I mean, not Parachutes, Rush of Blood to the Head all the time. And I remember I had called Mary and I said, I need you to come to London. I can't breathe without my dad. I don't know what, to do. And so she came over, and then someone reminded me we had tickets to go see Coldplay that night, but from, months before my dad died. And I was like, I can't go. And she was like, Gwynnie, please, we can't, we have to get you out of the house and get some air, even if it's just and it was really hard for her too, because my dad was like her dad.
Yep.
And she's like, you've got to stop smoking cigarettes. We've got to get out of here. And I was like, okay. And so we went. And because they had been writing that we were boyfriend and girlfriend, his assistant, Vicky, who we still love to this day, she came and said oh, hi, this is so crazy. You want to go meet your boyfriend, after the show? So we went backstage and we met. And he was just so sweet and I met him when he was 25 and I had just turned 30, and he was like Tigger the tiger, bouncing around. And I really didn't even think we would go out, but I don't know. He called me and asked me to come to Ireland to see him and go to a show. And I was so depressed. So I remember my other friend Henrietta at this time saying, she was like, I said, this is crazy. This kid from Coldplay asked me to go, see his concert. And this is nuts. I'm not going. And she's like, yeah, you've got to go. This is the first time you've smiled since your dad died.
Oh my God.
So I went.
How was your relationship with Chris different from all of your previous relationships?
Well, there was just something, I don't know. I think there are certain things that kind of have felt preordained in my life. And my children feel to me the whole reason I'm on this earth. And so when I met him, there was a very deep thing there. And I couldn't quite put my finger on it because it felt very different than my other relationships. And it's not so much that the relationship itself turned out to be healthier than my other relationships. It's just that I think I had this deep calling on some level. I knew he was going to be the father of my kids, maybe, or something.
Oh my God.
It was a very strong feeling.
Yeah. I'm interested to know too, you mentioned that right before you kind of met Chris, like a few weeks prior, your dad had passed.
Yeah, 3 weeks before.
How did that impact, do you think, like the early days of your relationship?
Yeah. I mean, I was broken. My father was, you know, like I just adored him. And he was like, you know, my teacher, my rabbi, he was like the comedian. He was like so unconditionally loving. And he was the center of all of my whole family kind of centered on him. So when he died, you know, I was completely like decimated. And so I was very raw and very open, you know, didn't totally have I couldn't see straight. Like I was in full grief. I don't know how Chris kind of like dealt with me through that time.
Yeah, because I'm interested, like I think loss is, there's no way to describe like how you're going to grieve, and thinking about like meeting Chris, falling in love while also like deeply grieving.
Yeah.
Those are like very opposite emotional headspaces to be in.
Yes.
And when you look back, do you think that affected your perception of like of the relationship at all?
Probably. I don't see how it couldn't have. Like I was so altered and so destroyed. I can't imagine it didn't, you know, and I can't imagine that I didn't project like hope and safety and future, you know, onto him because I was in such a bad state.
Yeah. So we talked about how you were engaged at one point to shout out Brad. And then you eventually, who doesn't love Brad? You love Brad. We all love Brad. I love how it's like Brad or Ben. This is about to be a game. You're like, Brad. I'm like, wait, I didn't play the game yet. We all love Brad. Shout out Brad. You know, we love you. So you got engaged and you said you weren't ready to be married.
Right.
You married Chris. How did you know when it was time to end a marriage and to move on with your life?
Well, it was interesting because, again, like being so driven by this like feeling of the impending children, like I got pregnant really quickly and had our kids like in pretty quick succession. And so then you're sort of thrown into like I was like in grief, and then I had Apple, and then I had Moses, and then I think you just try to make it work, especially for me, you know, I don't like I think we have one, you know, barely any divorce in our family. All of my best friends from, you know, elementary school, high school, they're all married to like their college sweetheart. Like no one, I wasn't around to, like, I just felt like it was such a failure, and even contemplating us not being together. And I was so worried about it for the kids and for what it said about me. And it was so hard. And then, you know, I really wanted something very different to what he wanted. And I felt very, kind of lonely in the marriage in a lot of ways. And I just finally got to the point where I thought, like, you know, I need to listen to myself. And so, you know, it wasn't until right after I turned, you know, it was like kind of around, it was sort of like around 38 that I started to sense that the marriage wasn't going to last. And then I tried really hard for another couple of years. But, you know, I say this all the time because it's true. You get this software upgrade when you turn 40, like you just get an upgrade. Like you wake up and your software is fucking upgraded. And you're like, wow, this is bizarre. Like, I don't care what anybody thinks of me. Like, I like myself. Like, you click into this thing, and that happens again when you're 50, by the way. And it feels like you feel whole. And I just realized, like, I need to not be in this. I need something else. And it's okay if I'm alone, and it's okay if I disappoint people. And it's okay if I never find anyone again, all the things that you're so worried about, you know, when you're contemplating divorce. And I chose myself.
I love that. And thank you for sharing, because I don't even like, no matter where you're at in your life, I do feel like it kind of goes back to what you said of like, we know when we're not happy, when we're not feeling it, when it's not right anymore. Doesn't mean it wasn't right.
Right.
But like, we keep growing and we keep evolving as individuals. And naturally, sometimes that means you're going to outgrow a partner, or you're going to outgrow something that you initially were attracted to. And I think that's okay. And I think especially as women, it's like a very negative feeling and shameful feeling you have on yourself if it's you the one that's having those feelings. Because I feel like we always learned like men will leave and men will do this. But if it's you, like it has been a pretty like new concept that like, oh my God, you can leave a marriage. Like you can stand up for yourself. You can have a voice. So I appreciate you sharing that, because it is in some way inspirational to just know like you have these incredible children. You had a healthy marriage at one point, and then it's like, and then it's time to move on, and that's okay.
It is okay. It is okay. And it's like not what you want. And it's not, when you get married, it's not what you hope for, but it's okay if it's not the right thing anymore, you know? And for me, it really then became about, is it possible to stay a family with this person that I really love? And I wanted to minimize the impact on our children, which of course they're impacted, and divorce is terrible. And I know it was really hard on them. But I wanted it to be as least, like I wanted to try to figure out a way that Chris and I could stay like real family, which we have.
The last question I have on that is like, has it gotten easier to co-parent? Like in the beginning, I can imagine it's like any family feels it. Like it's a little rockier, like trying to get your footing.
Yeah.
And then eventually does it get to a place where like it does feel more cohesive?
If you work on it, like you really have to work at it. And I think you have to choose every day to remember the good in the person, why you love them, hold them with a lot of love and respect, and cultivate that, especially on days that you don't feel that, because you feel, wronged or angry or whatever it is, and so it became a practice for me to remember all the ways in which, Chris was a blessing in my life. And, and like, there are just things about him that are so fantastic, and he's so funny, and he's so talented, and he's goofy, and we all laugh a lot. And so I tried to really focus on those things, and then also use the opportunity to focus on my side of the street and what I had not done well, and what I could learn, and the ways in which I hurt him, and the ways, so it was a big, I think, it's probably best said, like, I really milked the opportunity. It's like a divorce, it sounds weird to say it's an opportunity, but I really wanted to learn as much as possible, and I wanted to grow as much as I possibly could out of it.
Yeah. I kind of feel like a theme today is just like knowing what's best for yourself.
Yeah.
And you played a vital role in starting the Me Too movement, and you were very open about your experience. How did you decide to come forward and talk about everything?
It was scary because, I had grown up watching the women who had spoken out be reviled, rejected, pilloried in the town square. And I had never seen a model where a woman could speak out and there would be repercussions that were on the man and not on the woman. And so this was a story that, everybody, it was like the worst kept secret. Not that Harvey Weinstein was raping people, but, that he was sort of crossing boundaries and trying stuff on. And we all kind of knew that was happening. And like my story had happened to 10 of my friends, But when I had learned the full extent of what he had done through my cooperation with the New York Times and talking to Jodi and Megan, who are two incredible women, incredible investigative journalists, I just thought, this has got to stop. And I felt like if maybe there was a chance it could impact the workplace for my daughter and her friends, like I felt really obligated to say something.
Call Her Daddy is brought to you by Airbnb. Okay, Daddy Gang, you know I love a good party, but when my girl group chat asked me what I wanted to do for my birthday this year, I knew exactly what I needed. Last year, I was like, let's rage our faces off. And this year, I'm like, let's have just like some cozy quality time. Let's relax. And so we found a weekend for a girls trip. And naturally, our next step was Airbnb to find the perfect house for all of us to just unwind and be able to spend time together. And staying in a house with your friends, in my opinion, it completely changes the vibe of the whole trip and it makes it more special. You can get to know the neighborhood together. You can go find your favorite coffee shops. Second, I just love feeling like roommates living in the same city together. Like all of my friends and I don't live in the same place. So when we get to stay in a house, it makes me kind of feel like we're in college again. Staying like locals also, I feel like helps you feel immersed wherever you are. And getting an Airbnb is the best way to not only explore a new city, but have a new space in that city. I love that Airbnb has something for everyone because my friends and I, there's a lot of different things that we're looking for when it comes to finding the right home, right? Some people want a big kitchen to cook in. Not me. Don't even care if there's a kitchen. Others want proximity to the beach. And then others want to make sure that they can bring their dogs and it's dog friendly. Do you know what I mean? Also, I want a hot tub. Love a hot tub. We have had so much fun going through Airbnb's guest favorites and sending each other ideas of homes. Like, do you want a cozy cottage with a porch? Do you want this luxe apartment with a disco ball? We did see one with that. Do you want to stay in like this crazy place that kind of like looks like a tree house? Regardless, our group chat was popping off with everyone sending different houses until we finally found the place that truly fits everyone's. And I was like, I'm booking it, girls. So we ended up picking a spot with a big couch by a fireplace. And I also know the wine conversations that on that couch in those pajamas are going to be unmatched. And we'll probably make it here on a solo episode of Call Her Daddy. So whatever your travel priorities are, they can be taken care of with an Airbnb. Do you want a big kitchen, a gym, somewhere you can bring your dog? Airbnb, it's my favorite way to travel, hands down.
I appreciate also just how open you are about your experiences and kind of speaking about like, you know, raising children now in this new era as like women that can have a voice. Like, how do you talk to, I guess, both of your kids about like dating and sex and relationships?
I mean, I think you have to tread lightly and let them come to you. I remember my kids both went to this fantastic elementary school here in Los Angeles once we moved from London. And they taught them sex ed in 6th grade, which, yeah, like, okay, but I really was not prepared with the information that they came home with.
What did they say?
I will never forget Apple and her best friend Emily sitting at our kitchen banquet in shock, like color drained from their face. They taught them everything. Anything you're thinking, they taught like the 11, 12-year-olds. Told them everything.
What?
I swear.
And what are they saying to you? Like, Mom,
They're like, do people do this? Like, it was beyond.
You're like, you know what? One day you'll hear a little bit more of this on Call Her Daddy, Apple.
Exactly.
And then it will be in a more appropriate
Well,
time.
that's what I was going to say. Then you took over. So I didn't have to tell her anything.
Holy shit. So I'm in Hawaii and I'm walking to the elevator with my boyfriend. We're staying at a resort. And I see this girl sprinting down the hallway with a bag. And I'm like, what is going on? I think she's beelining it to me. It is a fan of mine. And she hands me a Goop bag. And there's like a Goop store in this Hawaii resort.
Yes, the Mauna Lani.
Shout out. So I'm like, oh, thank you. She's like, I love you. Like, you've taught me so much. Like, I want you to enjoy your vacation, and winks at me. So I go upstairs and I open it, and it's a beautiful vibrator. And I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. And then immediately I'm like, thanks to Gwyneth, like, because I hadn't brought a vibrator on this trip. And it was used and it was used again. It was great. It was a great time.
God.
It was a great time.
I thought you were going to say, I thought you just said like, meaning you opened the box and it was used and I just died.
And this vibrator was fully used. Fuck you. No, I used it on my trip.
Okay, thank you.
It was phenomenal. And so I'm curious to know, because I'm a big advocate for toys and vibrators, especially for women. We have like obviously a harder time getting off. When is the first time you used a vibrator?
Wow. Probably when Sex in the City came out and, you know, Samantha was talking about like everyone. I remember like you would go to a bridal shower and like there all of a sudden there were vibrators like as party favors, and
it's almost like they stopped being party favors and they need to be again, because I remember in college being like, I think I need one. This is disgusting. Well, it's not. I started to use the back of my electric toothbrush because I didn't know where to get a vibrator at the time, Gwyneth. Yeah, thanks to Goop, now we know where to go.
Thank
but
goodness.
At the time it was like, I'll get a new toothbrush in the morning. Like, this is desperate times calls for desperate measures. And there I was with a good old back of the toothbrush. I didn't use it in the morning, everyone. Don't come for me. Why do you think women are so intimidated, though, by vibrators?
Well, you know, this is a very, this could be like a very long discussion. I mean, there's such systemic shame for women historically around pleasure. Mm-hmm. And we are, to your point, we do live in a patriarchal society. The paradigms aren't there for female pleasure. Mm-hmm. And so we've been taught to be like ashamed of it, not ask for things, not say like this feels good or this doesn't feel good. And this is why at Goop we have really kind of indexed into this area, because I really feel like it holds us back so much. It's this one area where, and look, I'm still not comfortable talking about, like, this is inculcated in for decades. Like and I'm so happy when I see it changing in your generation and Apple's, like, and this sort of freedom around the idea that women deserve pleasure. It makes me so happy to see that, but it has not always been that way.
You're so right. The shame comes from, obviously, as women, it's never been celebrated to like pleasure yourself. You hear about like men or boys when you're younger. It's like, oh, he's just touching himself. Oh, girl. It's like, stop doing that. Like, it's wrong. Just do it secretly. So now I agree that like it can be cute and fun and clean and not scary and veiny and too large that you're like, that's bigger than my thigh. Like, what is happening? So no, I really appreciate that you have what you've done, because now I have my little baby purple little like bullet vibrator, and I use it all the time. I don't know if that freaks you out, but
not at all. Not in the slightest.
Okay, Gwyneth, what is the craziest place that you've had sex?
I mean, I don't know. I've been famous for so long that like,
you're getting,
you know, I think one time back in the day, I did it in an airplane bathroom on an overnight flight to Paris.
Would you drop the name of who it was with?
It wasn't anyone famous.
Okay.
Isn't that terrible?
It's amazing. No, I'm like, I want the tea. I'm like, oh, that won't make headlines. No, I'm just kidding. No, that's great. Okay, so when you were famous, you were having sex with normal men.
Yeah.
You're a woman of the people.
I was. Yeah, of course.
How would you meet normal guys though, and like not be freaked out?
Well, that's a good point. I mean, you know, do you know, like, I missed the whole dating app thing and all of that.
Thank
God. I totally missed that. Like, one normal guy I dated when I was famous was, you know, friends with my friends growing up in New York, like that kind of thing. I think I dated like one or two.
You're going to tell us who that other A-lister is at some point by the end of this interview. Okay. You started a wellness brand, but you did this before it was cool to like start a wellness brand. How did you come up with the concept of Goop?
Well, I think, kind of circling back to where we started, by the time I had Apple, I felt like I really needed a break from acting. I had worked like nonstop for years and years and years, running. And I had her, and I had like one of these moments in life, and you know, we had like a really crazy birth. It was very dramatic. And I kind of at some point passed out after having a seizure. Anyway, I woke up and I opened my eyes, and these like giant blue eyes were looking right at me. We were like this. And I was like, this is it. This is it. And Drew Barrymore actually said this to me the best, where she said when she looked into her daughter Olive's eyes, she had the same thing. And then she said to Olive later, I was born the day you were born. It always makes me cry because it's true. But that's how I felt. And like, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't want to leave this baby. I don't want to go back to work. And luckily I was in a position where I could take some time off, with so many women in this country cannot do. And in Scandinavia, they do it in places like that, but we are not good at that. So I was very fortunate. And the longer I didn't work, the more I started to call into question, like, wait, was I doing that because I really loved it? Was it like, and I gave myself the space to kind of contemplate if I wanted to go back or not. I ended up not doing a movie for like 3 years. I had my son. And then I went back a little bit to do like smaller parts in Iron Man and stuff like that. But actually never starred in a movie again since I was pregnant with Apple. Like, we were in my last starring role together. And then I did something which I think I would really encourage women to do, which is at some point stop and say, like, am I where I'm supposed to be? Am I doing what I love? Am I spending my life feeling fulfilled? And am I brave enough to give myself permission to do something different if I want to? And I knew that if I started a company, I would take a lot of shit for it. And people would be like, what is she doing? And there was no model for this except for the great Jane Fonda, who had, you know, done her fitness business, but also took a ton of shit for that at the time. They called into question like her seriousness as an actress. Like, everybody likes us in one little box, you know? But I was really interested in this other space, which was really essentially like connecting people to great things that would make their lives better. And I had always been that person for my friends. Like, what temperature do I roast a chicken at? Like, where can I get a bikini wax in Paris? Like, you know, and I thought, God, you know, I love answering these questions so much. I love doing the research. I love figuring it out. Like, maybe I could do this as a job. And so it percolated for a long, 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 long time. And I got a lot of advice from different people. And that's when I thought, okay, I'll just start it as a newsletter, and then we'll see how it goes. And it was unmonetized. It was just, you know, I just was sending content out. And it stayed like that for probably 5 years until I had the guts to start to think around monetization and what I would do.
It's amazing to hear you also explain it, because I agree with you. Like, when you immediately said Jane Fonda, as you were talking, I was thinking about Jane Fonda, because I'm like, it's so crazy that as you're trying to put something together that had never been done, your first reaction, even though like you knew you wanted to do it, we immediately think like, oh my God, everyone's gonna shit on me. Like, they want me to just be an actress. Like, just stay in your lane.
That's right.
And it's so detrimental, because that's so not the only thing that you are talented with, and that also that you're interested in. And so I love this story, because it shows full circle of you putting into action an idea you had, and then obviously creating something so much bigger that also is so helpful to so many women, including myself.
Thank you.
What is one Goop product that you wish you had in your 20s that now you're suggesting to Apple and her friends, and like, you need this?
This is real, because when I was in my 20s, I lay in the sun with baby oil on my face. I never used sunscreen. Believe me, I'm paying that price now.
You look great.
Thank you. I'll give you my surgeons.
Please.
Please. Just kidding.
But actually, please.
So I wish that I had taken greater care of my skin earlier. And what's so great now is that we've come so far with product development and because clean beauty is a huge thing for me. Like, obviously, that's why one of the main reasons we started Goop. I was appalled at the levels of toxicity in beauty products that are largely unregulated. We put all over our skin. They're transdermally absorbed. They mess with our endocrine systems. There's like real toxicity levels in a lot of stuff that we think is safe, and that just drives me crazy.
Yeah.
So I saw a real white space, you know, to create these products. And anyway, like for the women out there now, like look, I would recommend, I mean, we have this new eye cream that's coming out right now that's so incredible, and it's like packed full of vitamin C, and it's got caffeine and niacinamide, and it works so well, and it's very preventative as well. So I can use it for my crow's feet and my dark circles, and Apple can use it preventatively.
I love it. I need it.
We brought you one.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. You recently also launched the Goop Sex Instagram channel.
Yes.
What's a conversation that you're looking forward to having on that page?
Well, again, like just to sort of traverse back over what we were saying, it's so important for women to have places that they can, you know, and resources. And like, that's why what you do is so fantastic in terms of destigmatization, creating a space where women can explore these questions and these feelings and like the normalization. It's really beautiful. And I'm so glad that you do what you do.
Thank you.
And we really felt like, you know, there's more to explore here in terms of questions people have, products, etc. So we thought we'd make a dedicated page. You know, I learned from the Goop Sex page. Like, I'm like, wow, what is this?
I love that. One of my last questions is, I was just thinking about this for a second. Like, what do you think is a misconception about you?
Oh, I think there are probably a few. I think like maybe not as much anymore, but I think like there was a misconception like that me and Goop, that we together were like wacky or, you know, like dealing in pseudoscience, which is such bullshit. And like, we're actually so rigorous around like what we're talking about. And sometimes we talk about really cutting edge things, but we really label the content as that. So we're not saying this is fact. We're saying like, this is an emerging theory or something. So I think that's a way to keep also the power of the brand down, right? So it's like if you're threatening the status quo, like people used to throw that at us a lot.
What about personally?
I think I can maybe come off or look quite cold maybe, or like unapproachable, I've heard, but I think I'm really opposite to that. Like I do think I'm so curious about people, and I think I'm warm, but
When you walked into my house, I was like, oh my gosh, hi. We like hugged, and I was like, I felt like a part of the family when Apple walked in. I'm like, oh, we're all going to hang. Like I can dispel that rumor now. I have a gift for you.
really,
Well, it's kind of I'm going to give it to you.
it's Brad Pitt, guys.
No. I saw a comment you made. Okay, wait. I saw a comment you made on the internet,
Okay.
and I wanted to gift you this.
What did I say? Oh my God. I always, you know, me and my internet comments.
Oh my God.
Oh, this is so good. I hope you got one for Apple too.
Oh my God, I should. Love it. I saw your comment on Hailey Bieber's.
This is so good. I'm going to wear this loud and proud.
I truly love it. No, Gwyneth, thank you so much for coming on.
Oh
this
my
was
gosh.
truly so fun.
Thank
It
you.
wasn't too aggressive, right?
Not at all. It was.
You had a good time.
I'll check in with her and see what Apple has to say about it.
Apple, we're gonna walk in is like this. No, seriously, thank you for coming on. This was so fun.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was really fun.
That was so fun. I am dying laughing. You are comedy. It's a bop.
Thanks.
Like, it's giving me old Demi vibes. Like,
Yes.
I
love that you know old Demi.
Oh my
vibes.
God. Are you kidding me? Did you forget? Oh, do you know how many times
Thank
I've
you.
cried over that in my bedroom. Like
Oh my
I would, but like in a
God.
good way, like
Yes.
therapeutic. And I'd be like, Demi's with me. Are you kidding?
If we repeat some of this, just pretend like it didn't
I
happen
know,
before,
no,
because
it-
this
we
is
will.
all
We are.
great.
Yeah, we need to stop. Are we
So
ready,
excited.
guys?
Let's get started.
What is up, Daddy Gang? It is your founding father, Alex Cooper, with Call Her Daddy.
Demi Lovato, welcome to Call Her Daddy.
Thank you.
It is such an honor to have you here, and I want to say it's a big deal you're here for many reasons.
Oh my God, thank you.
Of course. But I've had sometimes people like come on if they're like a fan of the show, but you are the first person I have ever had on Call Her Daddy whose mom is a fan
Yes.
of Call Her Daddy. Shout out Demi's mom.
Yes, my mom loves this podcast, and she was like, "You have to say hi." I was like, "Of course."
We are recording this
Yes.
just before your 30th birthday.
Yes.
Leo season. What does turning 30 mean to you?
Turning 30, what it means to me is like, to be honest, I've had a little anxiety. My 20s were like such a mess. Like I was trying to figure myself out. I didn't know who I was. A lot of shit happened. And then I kind of like over the past couple years have eased into who I am. And then this year I'm like, oh, I know who I am. So turning 30 to me has been like, I'm excited for my 30s and what that holds.
I love that, and I really want to normalize that because I feel like there's such pressure in society of like when you hit 30, like figure it out, and it's like what the fuck? No,
Yeah.
20s are meant to do all the fuck ups, and
Yes.
then 30s is when it's like let me come into my own and really figure myself
Yes,
out. So
exactly.
I love that.
Thank you.
In our hectic, fast-paced lives, we could use some slowing down. Haagen-Dazs is made to be savored and enjoyed slowly. Introducing new Haagen-Dazs Belgian waffle cones, a completely new experience that's worth slowing down for. Daddy Gang, you've never had cones like this before, okay? They'll take crunch to a whole new level. Each crispy waffle cone is filled with the velvety smooth ice cream that Haagen-Dazs is known and loved for. Then it's finished with delicious toppings and a decadent bite of sauce waiting for you at the bottom of the cone, okay? Haagen-Dazs Belgian waffle cones come in 4 delicious flavors: vanilla salted caramel, summer berry, triple chocolate fudge, and toasted almond fudge. Boom. Sign me up. You guys know that I have the most hectic days at the office. So when I get home, I love to grab a little treat, toss my phone away, and take a minute to myself. These cones are a must-have in my freezer. I'm obsessed with the summer berry flavor. It's fruity and it's sweet. And seriously, it always hits the spot. It's the perfect way to end a long, stressful day. Ice cream just always hits the spot for me. And these Haagen-Dazs cones are truly the perfect treat. Savor your moment of slow with new Haagen-Dazs Belgian waffle cones available at retailers nationwide.
You were one of the voices of our generation.
Thank
I
you.
started listening to your music in middle school, crying up against the window. Did you forget?
Yes!
Like fully singing all my heartbreaks. I'm like curled up with Demi. I feel like I already know you. Like truly, it's been a roller coaster. I feel like I've literally known you for so long, and I still love your fucking music.
Oh, thank you.
Were you always a natural performer?
I think that performer, no, I wasn't always a natural performer. I had some like adjusting that I had to do over time. I started performing on tour with the Jonas Brothers when I was 15. And I went from my first show in June of like 2008. It had like 100 people, to July, my first show with the Jonas Brothers was 18,000 people. So I had to like learn how to perform on these massive stages, and it was super intimidating. I was so nervous, but like I figured it out and I found my groove. But I have always been a vocalist. Like, you know, singing has always come natural to me. My first time singing on stage was when I was like 5 and at my talent show in kindergarten.
What did you
And
sing?
Celine Dion's My Heart Will Go On. Which is like one of the hardest songs to sing, but I was like, yeah, I'm going to tackle that.
I was just about to say Demi. I'm like thinking like, ooh, like maybe like a pop song. She's like Celine Dion. Like what's that? I'm like, Demi, you just go right for the most iconic singer, hardest song to sing, like classic. Okay, so someone had a little confidence back then. There
Yeah.
you go. I love that.
Yeah. And my mom, like, also, I was raised with, like, Aretha Franklin and vocalists like that. And then when I started learning vocalists that were in the era of when I was growing up, it was Christina Aguilera and Kelly Clarkson. And those were the singers that I gravitated to because they did things with their voices that I couldn't, and I wanted to learn how. So I made it my mission and was like, whoever is really, really talented, I want to do what they do. And so I just sang and sang and sang my little heart out until I could hit the same notes as them.
And then you eventually absolutely got there.
Thanks.
So for someone watching this, kind of going back to your childhood a little bit,
Yeah.
to kind of paint the picture, you're growing up and your parents split when you were really young. Did your biological dad have any input when you began working as a kid?
No. So my biological dad, he was mentally ill and had a lot of addiction problems. And so he wasn't really in my life at all. I mean, I was the one that would reach out and call him, but like he was really sick mentally. And so over the years, I slowly stopped reaching out and calling him because he was so sick. It was hard to have conversations with him. He was schizophrenic and he had delusions. And so our conversations went from, how are you? I miss you, to I'm doing a movie with Steven Spielberg and Jodie Foster's my girlfriend. And I'm like, okay, we like can't talk anymore. And so I guarded myself from that relationship, and he didn't have a say, but he was proud. He was really proud. When I would talk to him, he was really proud.
And there was a lot to be proud for. Technically, your start in the business was you started in pageants, right?
Yes, I started in beauty pageants when I was 7. And my first like big win was Mini Miss Texas. Yeah, that was my introduction. And then from there, I got an acting coach and I started doing acting.
In your documentary, Simply Complicated, your mom, who was a former Dallas Cowboys cheerleader, she acknowledges her emphasis on being skinny and being perfect affected you.
Yeah.
How did your mom's opinion about herself affect your opinion about yourself?
Well, look, my mom had an eating disorder. And so naturally, someone that's in their eating disorder who isn't aware of it can pass on things to their child. And so I put a lot of pressure on myself and in the beauty pageants to look a certain way. I mean, I'm going to go on the record here and say like beauty pageants are awful for children's self-esteem, and like they teach you to ignore your emotions until you go to your hotel room, and that's when you can cry it out. And it was this toxic environment of like who's more beautiful and things like that, and at such a young age it confuses you. And so over the years I developed my own eating disorder, and that bled into my career as well.
When you're performing, you have to be okay. You got to go up there, you got to put a smile on your face, got to make everyone else feel great. But that's not how you felt on the inside. What do you remember depression feeling like as a 7-year-old?
As a 7-year-old, when my depression started to kick in, it was more of like this fascination of death. And for some reason, I had this like understanding that life was only going to get more difficult. And so I had suicidal ideations from age of 7. So much so that like my school called my parents and they had me sign like this contract saying that I wouldn't do anything to myself. And so I entered therapy and guidance counseling at the school at 7 years old. And you know, it's something that I still deal with occasionally, and I just think it's a part of, it's just something that I've learned to accept and manage.
Yeah. When your parents got that call and you got into therapy, was there like regular check-ins? And because you were working also at the time at a young age, like was there a regimen of like checking in on Demi and making sure she was okay?
I was so young that I don't really remember, and I remember the person that actually saw the contract was my great grandmother, because I went to her house afterwards, and she was like, well, please don't do that. Like, are you okay? And so, yeah, there was probably check-ins, but I don't really remember them because I was so young.
What was your peer dynamic when you were in school?
My peer dynamic when I was in school was difficult. You know, I was thrown from being on Barney, where I homeschooled for like a year. Then I went back to school, and I'd actually learned more when I was homeschooling, to where like when I went back to school, I was like helping her show the class, like, this is what I've learned and blah, 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 blah. But when I went back to school, you know, there was a lot of drama. There was a lot of, it was the 6th grade, 7th grade drama that's the worst. It's the absolute worst with preteen girls. They're just mean.
That age is when, like, I personally know, like, bullying started for me. Like, that is the worst fucking age. That's when it all goes down. What were you bullied for?
So there was this whole incident where the main week that I was bullied, I had actually gotten the opportunity. I was already performing at, like, you know, USO bases and like little car dealerships here and there that would have like festivals and whatever. I had the opportunity to open for JoJo, the singer. And this was when Get Out Leave was like on top of the charts. And as a preteen, we're all like, go JoJo, because she's our age, right?
Absolutely.
So anyways, I had the opportunity to open for her, and I invited one of the girls that was in my clique of friends, and I got the opportunity to go backstage and meet her after I opened for her, and the other girl didn't. And I used her camera. It was like this disposable camera. And when I got back to school, she gave me all the pictures from the show, but the one of me and JoJo was missing. And I was like, where did that one go? And she was like, oh, it just didn't develop. And I was like, bitch, like, I know that it developed and you're just salty about it. Right. So that week turned into like hell for me. And all of a sudden there was drama around that, the picture not showing up, but then people took sides. And I remember it was like Mean Girls, like walking into the cafeteria where like the popular girls hated me. Anybody that wanted to be popular hated me. The popular guys hated me, and they have all the power in school. And at one point I was like hiding in a bathroom, and I called my mom, and I was like, I need to get out of here. They signed a suicide petition. They passed it around and got people to sign it, saying, if you, we want Demi to kill herself. And it was awful. And so, and they said some other mean stuff in there that like was just really hurtful. And so I ended up leaving and homeschooling, and it was a blessing in disguise because it gave me motivation to keep going. And it also gave me all this free time after I did my schoolwork to practice music for 3-4 hours a day. And I did that for years.
You were kind of getting bullied, I think, because you were having success, right? Like you were kind of starting to make it. People were jealous. At that age, they're super insecure. We all know how that goes. But do you think you then leaned into your craft because it was kind of like your escape from what you'd been going through?
I leaned into my craft, but I also leaned into my eating disorder, because the reasons that they gave me for bullying, where they were like, you're a slut, you're a whore. Meanwhile, I'm 12 and I've only had my first kiss. And they were like, and you're fat. And they started calling the house saying they were from Jenny Craig and they wanted Demi. And so I was like, well, I guess that's their reason for me being hated so much. I guess it's because I'm fat. And I developed an eating disorder at 12. And it was really hard. But yes, at the same time, I used it as motivation. Like, I'm going to make my name so in your face that you can never escape me again. And it felt really good when that finally came true.
So you make it to Disney Channel.
Yes.
Which I was saying is basically winning an Oscar as a child. Like at that age, are you kidding? Let's watch a Disney Channel movie. I'm like, okay, like can you tell I've literally watched all of it?
I did too. I did too.
Everything. To paint the picture, like who was also acting on Disney around that same time as you?
It was the golden era of Disney. I mean, there was one golden era where it was like Raven and Hilary Duff, and then it like moved into this other golden era where it was like Hannah Montana had just started like a year or so before. High School Musical had just happened. Selena was on Wizards. And I auditioned for the Jonas Brothers TV show. And I was up for the role of their like female best friend or whatever. And I remember I didn't get it and I was crushed. I was heartbroken. But Disney was like, but we want to see you for these other 2 projects. And I was like, okay. Like I had taken the hardest no in my life. And I was just like, I don't know if I want to go audition again, but I will. So I did. I went and auditioned and I ended up booking them both. One was Sunny with a Chance and one was Camp Rock. So like that for me was like, I get my own movie and my own TV show. Are you kidding? Like on Disney Channel. And I knew my life was about to change.
Was there competition amongst the big actors on Disney?
Even though I'm a competitive person, I really like quieted that voice because I was like, it's not worth it. We all have our own talents. And that's why I'm not jealous of any artist today, is because like we all have our own lanes and someone has to fill my lane, you know?
As like a young girl watching those shows, I was always like, Demi seems like she would, like, I could be friends with her. Look at me,
thank you.
Like eating my hair in my room, being like, I could be friends with Demi.
Eating my hair. Literally the most perfect hair, by the way. We've already had this conversation.
But it is funny because you really gave that vibe of like relatable and like someone that you could be friends with.
It was the bangs. The Camp Rock bangs. It was the bangs.
It was the bangs, and you brought the bangs back today. Okay. What pieces of your personal life did Disney have a say on once you started working with them?
Whew. So there were expectations on you to be a role model because all of a sudden you're thrust into that position, whether you want to be or not. Like you're on shows that kids are watching. You can't be seen at a party with a red cup in your hand because it looks like it could be alcohol. And people online, like there was this website called Ocean Up, and Ocean Up would just like take all scandalous things that were happening to Disney actors and put it on there. And so we lived in fear of that website. It wasn't really ever Disney saying, you can't do this, you can't do that. But if something happened, there would be conversations. And I will say that like that pressure of you're replaceable was always there, not necessarily ever said by Disney, but they didn't have to, because it was like Disney is the hottest thing for teenagers to be on. And there are millions of kids that want to be in your place. And so you have to be on your best behavior, or else, you know, there's the next girl in line that could book the movie that you're supposed to be in. What people don't know is that the amount of work we had to do. Every year I filmed a season of a TV show, I went on tour, I made an album, and I shot a movie. And I did that for like 3 or 4 years. I think it was 3. But if I had a hiatus from my show, I would have the tour bus pull up to the studio and take me on tour for 1 week. Or I would fly to London to do promo. And I remember one day I woke up, I was so tired and like just drained from how much work I was doing as a 16-year-old. I woke up and I just started crying, and my mom was like, what's wrong? And I was like, I'm so tired. And then she started crying too. She was like, me too. And it was like this sad kind of hilarious moment. And we were like, okay, put ourselves together. We got to do this. And so there was this extreme workload that I think put a lot of pressure on us. And that's why some of us I personally turned to, if you're going to work me like an adult, I'm going to party like an adult. And that at 16, 17 wasn't healthy at all.
When you had that moment with your mom, do you wonder if she ever thought to be like, hey, like you don't have to, you know?
I think my parents were also under the, impression that someone will take your place if you don't commit to this stuff. And so I'd sit down with my management and my dad, and we'd go over the schedule. And the thing was I was also bipolar. And I was unmedicated. So there would be times where I'd have this like all this energy, and I'd look at my schedule and be like, I can do that. Plus this is the cover of Cosmo. Like I want to do that. It's cover of 17. Like I want to do that. I didn't want to miss anything. I had like major FOMO if I did. So I just kept on pushing. But then by the time it would get there, I'd fall into like a depression and it'd be really hard to work.
At that age, technically at 16, you are the thing that's making all the money for all the people around you. And if you stop, it all ends.
And also at a certain point, I was paying for the roof over my whole family's head. And my dad had quit his job to become my manager. So his income was coming from me. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, wasn't reliant on, well, I mean, kind of was, but it was just that pressure of like, I'm paying for everything and like I need to keep going because if things start to disappear, so does the finances.
So you reference, if I'm going to be treated like an adult, I'm going to party like an adult.
Yes.
At what point in your Disney career did you begin experimenting with drugs?
So I started experimenting for the first time when I was 12. 13, I got into a car accident and they prescribed me opiates. And my mom didn't think that she'd have to like lock up the opiates from her 13-year-old daughter, but like I was already drinking at that point. I was, had been bullied, was looking for an escape. And when my mom saw how many of the pills had disappeared and how fast they did, she took them away, locked them up. But yeah, I drank a lot in my teenage years. And then it wasn't till I was about 17 that I started, well, that's not even true. Like there were times where I'd get certain kinds of pills throughout like 15, 16. I'd steal my mom's Xanax. She had a Xanax addiction. And like, so it was off and on. And then at 17 is when it kind of was the first time like I tried Coke and like loved it too much. And then that kind of bled into me going to treatment like right after I turned 18.
When you were drinking alone or were you going out places?
My first time drinking, I was alone. And that was like, should have been a major red flag. I like stole beer from my dad in the fridge, my stepdad, and like took it to my room and drank like 4 beers just to see what it was like to feel drunk. And like, I was like a little 90-pound, girl. So that was a lot. And then it started being with like friends, and it wasn't ever alone after that, but that was my first time.
Call Her Daddy is brought to you by ZipRecruiter. Did you know that 3 in 5 women feel pressured to accept the first job offer they get? Daddy Gang, as a qualified candidate, you have way more power than you think. Before you say yes, please make sure it's in line with what you want. Will there be work-life balance, career growth? Are you being paid what you're worth? You deserve an amazing job where you are valued, and that is why you need to use ZipRecruiter. If you're ready to find that next role that meets your needs, go to ZipRecruiter.com/CHD to get started. ZipRecruiter matches you with relevant jobs in minutes, and you can apply to most of them with just one click. Hate waiting. Most applications on ZipRecruiter are viewed right away within 48 hours based on their recent data. I love that the majority of jobs on ZipRecruiter include salary and benefits info. That is so important when considering what job you'll choose to take. You deserve to be in a role where you're happy, fairly paid, and genuinely excited to grow. So use ZipRecruiter and find a job that's a hell yes. Go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/CHD right now to start finding jobs you love. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/CHD. When you're kind of at this age where you start to kind of experiment, you're drinking and everything, did not only your parents, but like management and publicists, and did people know you were drinking and doing drugs?
When it came to management's attention that I had been doing pills, they definitely were like, this can't happen, and like, what's going on, and do we need to get you help? And I was really good at convincing people like, no, it was just like, I had a hard time sleeping and blah, 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 or I'd make up excuses. And finally, when it got to a point where it was clear that I needed help and I needed to go away, everyone was really supportive of it because it had been like kind of a long time coming.
So thinking about the whole Disney era, there was a major wave of purity ring wearing. Okay. I can't say it with a straight face, okay? Debbie's like, holy fuck. Oh, no pun intended. No pun intended. There was a huge wave of purity ring wearing amongst Disney stars.
Oh, yeah.
What the fuck was that about?
So I think it was just my purity. I had a purity ring that came from my church, like way before Disney Channel even happened. I was like 11 or 12. And like, obviously that shouldn't have even been implemented on 11 or 12-year-olds. But I was like, okay, like I'll do this, whatever. That quickly went out the window at a certain point. And then I left the others to have their purity adventures on their own. But I mean, to each their own. I don't know. It was an interesting thing to come out publicly and say.
It really was, because I remember being that age and like I should have been apparently wearing one because I was like Catholic at the time. God, I'm getting like burned. But I'm like, why are people wearing these things? And it was such an interesting, it almost at the time when I look back on it really felt like the Disney kids like were getting older, and it felt like a way to like really cement like, no, we're really good kids and we don't do anything bad. And it's like, look at my finger, like, oh, they wear a purity ring.
Right. I don't know. Like I had one and I think I talked about it like once, but like, and it caught a little bit of fire, but definitely not as much as the other people wearing them. And I quickly hushed about that when I started having sex, because I was like
I lost it. I don't know where it went.
It broke. I think it actually literally broke because it was so cheap. And then I was like, well, that's my sign. Here we go.
Have you ever sat down and discussed the challenges of being inside this Disney machine with people like Selena Gomez, Miley Cyrus, the Jonas Brothers?
I think over the years, like we talked about it for sure, but I do have a project in the works where I want to talk to some of those people about their experiences and other child stars as well.
Kind of like we were talking about earlier, there were all these systems in place in your life. Everyone, they're taking care of your career with you. And then well into adulthood, your personal life was also being controlled by people that were managing your career. Mm-hmm. Demi, in what ways was your team controlling your life?
There was someone that came into the picture, and when they came into the picture, everything in my life was controlled. I started having a sober companion, which was helpful for me, but it should not have lasted 3 years. And then it became controlling around my food. And for someone in recovery from an eating disorder, that's so dangerous. It actually exasperated my eating disorder to the point where I became bulimic again. From 2016 to 2018, I was dealing with that. And we're talking like, I've never talked about this before, but there was one time where I had binged and purged one night, and I came clean to my team and said, hey, this happened. I snuck out of my hotel room because they didn't let me have phones in my hotel rooms because they didn't want me to call room service. I didn't have food in my hotel room, like snacks in the mini bar, because they didn't want me to eat the snacks. Ellen talked about this on her show where they cleared the dressing room of like all sugar before I would get in there. She was like, I remember that. And after I told them what had happened, my security guard walked by my room or was made aware that they barricaded me into my hotel room. They put furniture outside of my door so that I couldn't get out and sneak out and eat if I wanted to. And so it was that level of controlling when it came to my food, which just made my eating disorder worse. One time I said, I'm throwing up blood. I need to go to treatment. I need to get help. And this was in like 2017. And this person looked at me and said, you're not sick enough. And I think that was his way of saying like, no, you're not going back to treatment, because if you do, this will look bad on me. And so I didn't go back into treatment. And less than a year later, I ended up overdosing. And so I think it was just like, I felt trapped. I felt like I couldn't get out of this situation. And my way of like blowing everything up was relapsing on drugs and alcohol, because they always said if you use, we're out. And I was like, all right, time to get out. Bye. I've learned a lot from that experience. Like, no one can control me anymore. And I was under the control from 18 to 25. And those are years where you're trying to figure out your adulthood. You know, you're no longer a teenager, but for some reason I had people controlling everything I ate. You know, my business decisions were always being made for me. And now I found my voice. No one can ever do that to me again. And I feel empowered by what I went through, because I had to grow and I had to learn to accept that I'm my own boss.
When you, just to clarify, when you're referencing this person is basically trying to keep you from eating, it's for the image to make sure you look thin.
Yeah.
Which helps their career
Yeah.
and their income. Can you talk a little bit about mentally why it's so hard to push away from people that get their claws in you in that position?
Yeah, absolutely. I would even go so far as to say, like, there was a brainwashing element to it, where you were totally under the impression that if I don't listen to this person who knows so much about recovery, I'm going to lose everything. And so you put all of your trust and your faith into one person. And then from that, everyone around me listens to that one person and they go with it. You know, if this person says this is what it is and this is how it should be, then we listen to them. And then it became, it got to the point where, like, if they didn't like a chef that I had, they would sit me down and say, like, we don't like the chef that you have. We think that you should try someone else. And so I would say, okay. Like, I just put all of my trust and faith into, you know, into people around me that I think didn't have my best interest at heart. The reason why they didn't like that chef that I had was because the chef told me, they said they read your bank statements to see what you order at Starbucks, to make sure you're not getting like cookies or pastries or things like that. And when I found that out, I told them, and then they were like, we don't like your chef. And I was like, oh, you realize that she's the one that told me.
Hearing you talk about this, it does sound not like a version of what Britney Spears went through.
Right.
Like the controlling and the micromanaging to the point where you don't even have control over your own life.
Right.
I can't imagine how alone you felt when you said, like, they had said if I used, then they were gone, and then I used. And in a way, it was almost like your cry for help of, like, get the fuck away from me. A lot of people don't understand this side of the world. And I think that's why I love having you on right now, because we get headlines. E! News says something about, and it's like we don't understand what you as a human being are going through, and people are so ruthless to quickly make a judgment of, like, oh, well, she's got all the money in the world, so her
right.
Well, and it's like, listen to what you're saying right now. Like,
right.
This is a nightmare.
Right. And I couldn't talk about it. I felt trapped. And, you know, I don't know how many people have gone through that situation, but it is really sad.
In a Bustle article, you asked the question, what do I want my relationship with my manager to look like without enmeshing my own father issues onto him? What did you mean by that? How were your father issues affecting your relationship with your manager?
I had such interesting relationships with my dads, and the abandonment issue from my birth father was so deeply rooted inside of me that when it came to management, like, I placed that fatherly figure role onto him and onto this other person that I have mentioned. And so when looking for a new manager, I wanted to find someone that I don't place that fatherly figure role onto, and that it's just business.
In your documentary, Dancing with the Devil,
Yes.
you reveal your virginity was taken from you.
Yeah.
You were raped. Mm-hmm. Is it possible to heal from an experience like that?
I think in a way time can heal wounds, maybe not all of them. The more time that has gone by, the easier it has gotten. But there's still a sadness, a deep sadness inside of me that someone took that from me at such a young age. And it was hard because this person was also around, like they were also on Disney. And so seeing them around was difficult, and it really messed up my my teenage years. And finally I went and got help for that, and it's been something that I've worked on. But I've had other traumas happen, and it kind of pushes those to the side a little bit. But there are moments where I definitely will cry and just feel the sadness inside of me, because that's healthy to do. Rather than bottle it up, I just will allow myself to have those moments of that was really sad what happened to you, and you're a fighter. You can get through it.
I mean, I can't imagine at that young of an age having to still have someone be on Disney and having to see someone that did that to you. I mean, you are a survivor.
Thank you. And to be clear, it wasn't anyone in the immediate Disney circle, I've had people ask, questions of was it this person or was it that person? And it was I don't think it'd be anybody that anyone would guess, but they were friends with someone on set and they'd come around and yeah.
So many people, especially young women, listen to my podcast that have been sexually assaulted. Yeah. And it's complicated if you've never been through it. How do you give someone advice on that, right? So where have you generated the strength to keep going through trauma?
I think that I've just had a lot of trauma in my life, and there's a persistence, a determination inside of me. And I think I learned that from the bullying experience of you can turn this around and make it into something great. And I'm not saying that I've turned sexual assault into anything great, but I've written about it in music. I've healed from it, and it's just made me stronger.
You are so fucking strong, and it is written all over your new album.
Thank you.
I was listening to it in my car. I feel like that's also the best place to listen to new music, when you're
it's the best.
The best. Yeah. The best. You're by yourself, you're listening, and you're just so. First of all, I just want to say I'm a huge fan of your new album.
Thank you.
Holy fuck. Holy fuck is the album. And also, holy fuck, it's so fucking good.
Thank you.
Demi, I need to know, how does this album reflect where you are in your life right now?
Whew, this album. It reflects this album. Actually, there's a journey to it. So in the beginning of the album, you can hear my anger. You can hear I left treatment in December this last year, getting help again, and I'm sober again, and I feel great. But there was all these emotions that I left treatment with, and I wanted to convey them in my music. And so the first few songs are really angry, and it's this is who I am, take it or leave it. I know what you're saying about me online. Demi leaves rehab again. I see you, I hear you. And then as I started to heal, I was you know what, I'm actually getting happier, and I was owning my sexuality in a lot of the songs. And then my album became so it was angry, then sex, and then love songs.
Your songs are incredibly personal, and you always give insight into your life, and I feel that's why your fans are obsessed with you. It's because you're you put it all out there, and that's why we love Demi Lovato. It's we and I appreciate that, because sometimes we don't get a lot from people, and you're this is me. This is me. This is me. But oh my God, everyone's stop, Alex. But I appreciate that. And in the tone of one of the songs, you are fucking fighting, and you're I have something to say, and I'm going to address it as I always address my journey.
Yes.
And I always talk about what the fuck I'm going through. And so why would this be any fucking different on this album? The song 29.
Yes.
What inspired you to write this song?
I went to treatment after turning 29. I did a lot of work on myself. And I had this realization when I turned 29 that I came out of treatment with anger. I came out of treatment with understanding and growth. And so it was a reflective song for me. And even though there's undertones of anger, it was like I really learned a lot about that experience, and I decided to write about it.
To anyone that hasn't listened to the song, you need to go listen to it. Just a couple of the lines to give them a too young to drink wine, just 5 years a bleeder, student and a teacher, far from innocent. What the fuck is consent? Numbers told you not to, but that didn't stop you. Now I'm finally 29. Funny, just like you were at the time. What do you hope people take away from these lyrics?
If you're a young girl and you think that it's sexy or fun to date older men, it's not okay unless you're of age. It's portrayed as like, oh, you scored someone older, that's cool. And it's like, actually, that's weird. So it's just like a reflective moment of like, if you are in that situation, just listen to this song and like kind of think about it.
How did you decide to release it as a single?
Well, it was hard. It was really hard for me to release this as a single because it's so emotional for me and so personal. But I think sometimes the public needs the truth. And that's why I decided to release it as a single, because I think the message is so important.
Call Her Daddy is brought to you by Hidden Valley Ranch. Hidden Valley Ranch now comes in a new easy squeeze bottle. The same ranch you love, just in a new, easier to use bottle. New bottle, same great flavor. Hidden Valley Ranch is the original ranch, the brand that created ranch in 1954. Recently, Hidden Valley Ranch changed its packaging, moving from the iconic paddle bottle to a new easy squeeze bottle. Okay, the new bottle offers a lot of benefits, including making it easier to just get the right amount of ranch out without making a mess, and helping you get out every drop. Hidden Valley Ranch is America's #1 ranch. Visit walmart.com/Hidden Valley to find Hidden Valley Ranch in the easy squeeze bottle. Hidden Valley Ranch, only serious about flavor. I love you, Hidden Valley Ranch. Thank you for that. What is your favorite song on the album to have sex to?
First of all,
saying favorite.
First of all, I don't have sex to my own music.
Demi, come on. I'll have sex to your music.
Go for it. Go for it. I would feel weird about it.
If you had to.
If I had to.
Or to people listening, which song should they fuck to?
Well, it depends. If you're trying to be like
sensual and
yeah. Listen to Come Together. If you're trying to like
bang it out.
You know what? If you're trying to bang it out, listen to Bones. Bones is like, it's like, I want to jump your bones. That's the hook.
We are not in Disneyland anymore, guys.
No,
Disney
we are
Channel
not
is
in
dead.
Yes.
Demi fucking Lovato, you are fucking back with a vengeance. I'm obsessed. Speaking of sex, Demi, you gotta give us a little tea. Are you dating anyone?
I'm dating somebody.
Look at that grin. Okay, we don't need like too many deets, but like, how's it going? Like, what's the vibe?
It's going really well.
It's going well.
Yeah. Can I say that?
It's your life,
okay. It's my life. It's
no
my
more
life.
looking at your team.
Yeah.
It's your fucking life.
It's my life. Yeah. It's going really well. Yeah.
Okay. When you're dating someone, what is the most important thing you look for in a partner?
I have to laugh. Like I've dated people that were beautiful or, sexy. And it's like, I still am like that. The person I'm dating is so hot and so sexy and I am obsessed. But like, the most important thing is like, eventually over time, we grow old and looks fade and things like that. Like you have to find someone that completely understands you, but most importantly to me, makes me laugh.
I'm like so happy for you because I can tell it's like fresh and it's great because you are fully blushing. You're like, stop! No! Demi, knew you. We don't fucking ask for permission. What do you want to say?
That's
what do you
true.
want to say?
That's
We're not saying names here unless you want to say his name. Okay, you're going to go on tour, right?
Yes. So excited.
Is it hard to date while you're on tour?
I found that it's actually kind of easy if you make sure that you see each other like once every 2-3 weeks.
Okay, fun.
It's important to and it's also FaceTime. Like FaceTime is really helpful. And I'm sure like it's like, I think what's going to suck is being away from the person that you're dating. But like ultimately it kind of builds anticipation too for when you do see them. And it's like so exciting, you know?
So exciting. And I think it's also the test of like, if you can make it through that,
Yes.
like that's a great strength building core exercise. What the fuck am I saying? Okay. When you go on tour, what are you looking like most forward to when you're going on this upcoming tour?
Rocking out, because I did, you know, the pop music and kind of R&B pop, which was fun, but also at the same time I felt like it wasn't me. Like I was trying too hard to be sexy, and I was in the little leotards and the, you know, stiletto heels, and I wasn't comfortable. And so I want to be comfortable on the stage, and I will be, and I can just completely be myself, which is going to be so exciting.
Will we be seeing like a little old Demi music vibe also on tour?
Old music, yes. You will definitely be, because it matches the sound. And I've also, which is the most exciting, I've also turned like my hits into the style of music that I'm doing today. So like, you know, Cool for the Summer sounds totally different. Heart Attack sounds totally different. Confident sounds totally different. And it's like, it's so exciting. Sorry, Not Sorry. Like all of those songs sound totally different. And I'm like so excited for everyone to hear it. You know, I started out with really great instincts on how to be myself. And I strayed away from it because I wanted hits. I wanted what people wanted to hear. And so I lost myself for a long period of time when it came to me musically. And I've never had an experience in the studio like I've had making this album, where it's just so fulfilling, so myself. And it's just so fun to sing, and I can't wait to perform it.
Demi Lovato, thank you so much for coming on Call Her Daddy. It was
Thank
an honor.
you.
Oh,
thank you so much.
Thank you.